Whoops. Something happened.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, hold on. I did something.
Yeah.
There it goes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, so I just hope
Okay.
that people in stream can hear you too. Yeah.
Okay.
It just froze for a little bit.
Yeah, it's because I did. I popped out something I shouldn't have.
Okay. Uh-oh.
That was on me. Yeah, of course. Hey, Dorgrim, you hear me? Sound check, sound check. Good, good, thank you. Excellent. Hey, Casey, do me a favor and hit if you can hit your thing before Patrick gives you a re-up, man. We don't want him to save a little money. I think yours just expired literally like 5 minutes ago. Last thing I want is because he did it for Gary last month again, and I'm like, oh, yeah, do it for Gary. Gary doesn't need it. Yeah, plus a little hint. Subs get an extra ticket with giveaways. If you didn't know that. At least one. Oh, hit this button. Cool, thanks, Casey. I'm talking to myself a lot tonight. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Good, good, good. Good! So I have 4 streams at least every week in January. with 5. And that's the one with the fantasy mapping show that weekend. So
Okay.
yeah. I guess it's good because I'm not going anywhere with the Omicron spike going on, right?
No, we
So
not socialize for a couple of weeks.
Casey, there's like an hour gap, which is really bizarre. So you may have to wait an hour. It's kind of a crazy thing. So yeah, if you get a gift sub, so here I'll send Patrick a message. I'm trying to say, I'm trying to. Thanks, Casey. I'm trying to, Yeah, that's exactly it. Thank you. Just trying to. Cause I know he hits Gary up like every other month because Gary forgets, and then he re-ups him, and I'm like, no! Gary's not using his Prime anywhere else. So much goodness and stuff going on this month and this year. Starting it off. I guess the year in review started it up, but this is kind of like, I count Sunday as the end of the week just for the stream schedule. So, ain't it cool? Oh, plus we got some, and I'll show these, I got some new emotes up. I know a lot of people, I got the Dragon Egg Lurk and the Dragon itself Lurk, because, a lot of people type in Lurk, but now you can just do it with an emote. Aren't I getting special? Also, I got rid of the rip animated because I don't want to waste it because I don't kill characters enough, Anna. So
Okay.
you know, but I got this cool thing which we'll use hopefully, and I got the Lorgazumba raid ship, Viking raid ship. Yeah, look at that. It's got raid on it, and it rows and stuff. So I got some cool. I've been trying to get some new things now that I have plenty of emote spaces. So fun times. The dragon egg of death. Ahoy! Lots of Gamescape 3D stuff going on too. Yeah, it's a pretty neat one. Yeah, the raid, you gotta look at it and highlight it to see the raid word. I figured out maybe changing the color of that, but you know, it's kind of hard in an animated one to see stuff. I don't know if I'm good enough to do it, but I may mess with it. Let's see. Rocket, something going on. Let's hit this. Let's hit, where is it? Uh-oh. Second behind. There we go. Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. If everyone's doing well. Wednesday. Just to show some of the cool stuff this week. Oh, I don't have a shout out for Tim. Oh. That's one I didn't program in. It was I got a banner, but I don't have a shout out for Saturday morning. So I'm out of spots right now. Duh. There's Sheldomar. Hey, Lando. Awesome. I know a lot of people have been getting that in digital and giveaways from Trollord, which is always a good thing. It's a nice thing. Nice. I will try not to use the word swampland tonight like I did all week going up to this. I don't know why I said forest instead of forest and jungles. I was saying forest and swamplands everywhere. So I know we did that. my brain, right? My brain like fried on it or something. Weird. So I'll make an announcement on that too, all right? So that everyone knows. So you're not the first one. Tonight, we scour the realm of Greyhawk, discuss forests and jungles in Greyhawk with, I guess, Anna, this will be a big reveal tonight, huh?
Yeah,
Right?
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, kind of. Well, it's been around. Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see. Yep. We have lots of reveals this year. Spread them out through the year.
Well, this will be good because said you've done a lot of work, which is fantastic, and I'm curious to see what size that adds to the map. How much does that add? Like,
Well, it's about 50% more than.
oh, it's just wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. Land-wise, so to speak, because so much of it is water. That
Yeah,
we
but still.
added. So yeah, the pixels are almost twice as 200%. So, but land mass is probably about 50%.
But of course, we'll save that to the end.
Well,
or
we
later.
will probably scroll around on it the whole.
Well, I got my map up because my map
Okay,
the
good.
resolution's higher still. I noticed.
No, it's not.
It is showing. It is showing on my screen.
Okay, that might be, but you can zoom in easy, so
Yeah.
you can actually get better resolution.
I thought I could, but well, we'll
okay.
do. But yeah. So hey, we'll go right in here. Hello, hello, hello. Blue Box, thanks. Thank you so very much. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to another fun discussion here on Legends and Lore, and with me as always, our first Legends of Lore of 2022. We have the legendary Greyhawk Mike Bridges and the wonderful Anna Meyer. And just so you all stick around, let's sneak peek this, because you want to see this. Map. Oh, what is that? Oh my gosh, what is that? There we go. That was enough. So, Tomorrowland and its full reveal coming from Anna Meyer and her great map. So, yes, absolutely. Tomorrowland has been done up. Anna's been working on it. Anna, what do you want to say toward that?
Well, it's the biggest map update in almost 20 years. So it's since I started, I kind of worked on just basically cover where the Darlene map covered. Now, after 20 years since I started, I covered the rest of Hepmonaland and Isle of Dread and some more. So I expanded. The map is in all, if you include oceans, is twice the area. What it was, but it's about 50% more landmass than the original map, so to speak. So then, thanks to a little bit more Photoshop mojo and a lot of patron support, that I can actually work on it full time. So I've worked on it for probably about 5, 6 months full time to get it to this stage, so to speak. And
I didn't realize
it
it was
continues. I worked. Oh yeah, and I'm still working on it basically 40-50 hours a week.
Thanks, Katana.
And to get the update. It's not done yet. and I'm putting new touches together, and I put a Zavoda river in and a Pale river in.
Oh,
And
that's
those are gonna
wonderful.
depart today. So yep,
That is so
it's coming.
cool.
So there is another.
Cool.
These are all work in progress previews that is coming out, and I can link to the latest one on my Patreon blog that is open for everybody to download, and you can look at it in full, so to speak, yourself. And there is a JPEG version you can download, and there's an easy zoom version you can just open in your
Yes.
browser and look at.
So tonight's giveaway, just so you're aware, I'm going to give you a choice here to start off, and that is any two of this wonderful set. So Treasures of Greyhawk, which is brilliant. I talked about that the other night that I ran Crossing into Steel out of this first of 2021. And then also Tomb of the Lizard King and the Crucible of Freya, all, so 2 out of the 3. But if we get to a certain level of hype train, I may throw in something that kind of is relevant to this. I may throw this into the mix to add a second giveaway, the full Scarlet Brotherhood.
What?
Yes. So, if we get through to a certain level there, if we don't, no big deal. Hey, I'm playing the game here. So, Kai, thank you for the winner of Kai won the other night too, which is wonderful. So, looking to this great, I'm so excited about this year. This is going to be a wonderful, wonderful year, 2022. We talked about all this on Gab, and this is our first stream. I have 4 streams note every week this freaking month, except for the 3rd week, which I have 5. So, and it's nuts. It's nuts, all the stuff coming up. Plus, we have coming up some really great things, and it's tentative. Almost, it's 90%. So we don't have the banner yet. But I just want to tell everyone, since we got all these people on, the Greyhawk Mega Stream fundraiser right now, Friday, February 18th, Saturday, February 19th. Okay. The title is There Be Dragons. So there you go. That'll be the theme this year. So we're working on it. I've reached out to a legend in the art industry to see if he will support it with advertising and some other things. So I've not gotten a yes or no back yet, but I did get a response. So we're working on getting a lot of big names. We're looking at getting a lot of things in for this St. Jude, our first fundraiser of the year. So Uncle Fuzz, thanks, man. Thank you so very much. Looking forward to having a great discussion with you in 2022 and supporting all the streamers we have in the community. So let's keep this thing rolling. Giveaway set. You should be able to do it now. Hit exclamation point drawing and get you in, and hopefully we're almost there. If we finish, oh, there we go, Jim. Thank you. We finished a level 3, and I'm good with that. So, all right, we're gonna go over forests and jungles tonight, or as I said, swamplands over and over again, and it was stuck in my brain for a week and a half. I finally got out of that, right, Anna? So
it took a while.
Yeah, it did. It did take a while. I love the forests of Greyhawk, and there's the whole right side of the map. I have no idea about a lot of them. I know we discussed some of them here and there, so I'm going to rely on you two for that part of because I don't know much about the Grandwood. I know about that Elven city in the ancient. I want to hear more about that. I can handle a lot of the ones in the Sheldomar because that's where I live, and I know Anna and I can jointly do the Vespi. How many named jungles and forests are there? That's a great question.
I don't think I ever added that up.
Yeah, I'm going to say 40 to 50. That's a guess. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think that's a good guess.
Oh man, it's tough because you could go by how many are on the Darling map, how many are on
how many are added into Anna's, and that's a guess, and it won't go over.
Down.
It's about 25 big ones, and then it's probably equally amount of small ones that are named. So my guess is about 40 or so.
Well,
cool.
That are named on my map. If you take the really tiny ones, it's probably up to 50 or maybe 60.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to flip screen here. And by the way, the one you see right down below me now, that's Axewood. We'll get to that. That's that's Len Lakofka's, one of the last projects he did. So yeah. So if you're interested in that, that was a free share. So I have always pulled up near Altamira. I'm just going to start off with the big one right off the bat, the Sus Forest.
Yes.
And the Sus Forest has a lot of misconceptions about it. It is
not evil.
Well,
Can he be worse than it is?
I don't know
was gonna
about
say,
that, but
Go on.
note that it is as bad as you can think. Thank you,
Yeah.
Persidente. It is full of bogs. It's filled with really awful locations. It's filled with a ton of humanoids, monsters unknown, areas deep in the Sus that are deadly. A lost city, and this is not the lost city. Atraca is the city in the Gore books where they find it like buried. That's Atraca. This is not the lost city of the Sul, but it is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Jason always, God rest his soul.
It is.
Jason said it was another settlement.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's
if
the
Cathay's
missing
on,
one.
we
So,
can
but,
ask him.
but
Yeah.
it's kind of that old Soul stuff is kind of mysterious to me. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Correct,
Different place.
Zombie Mitch. Anything goes in here.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if we scroll up a little bit, I should mark this down. Just
Yeah.
the ruins of Noel Dare. This is a dragon. This is a dungeon adventure, which is a higher level one, which is really cool. And if you go into this area near the S, this real dark area right here, this is where I placed Xanthoria by Tony Winslow Brill and Candlekeep Mysteries just recently.
Okay.
So, and notice here's Southern Selene right in this area. And there's Cowerwood, which we know now is in Selene. Thank you, Mike, for finding that out. And
Yeah, until it gets debunked again.
well, it's not going to be debunked by me, ever, because I love it.
I guess we have to straddle it across the river so the maps are safe.
Phoenixy, Skagath, we're almost there. So close. Thank you both. Oh, that's Skagath. Thank you, Phoenixy. I owe you a shout out, man. I got to get that programmed in. Phoenixy, please shout out your channel, and everyone, please follow him too. Please do that for me. I have the great Skagath here with both his channels. So get us over that level 3 hump, and we got a second giveaway. So the Sus, where does, I know you have a mark here, and the Sus and the Welkwood are right here. There we go. All right, so we got it. So we got the Scarlet Brotherhood. We got the Scarlet Brotherhood giveaway as well, and that means that we'll give away all 4 of these. So 2 and 2. Thank you for your kindness, everyone. So Treasures of Greyhawk, and your choice of one of these 2, or in Scarlet Brotherhood, and your choice of the other one in these 2. Some great things here. Great reference, Scarlet Brotherhood. Please sit tight, and yeah, thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. We all appreciate your support. So one last thing. We got a ton of people on. I said this early on. Thank you, Phoenixy. Please follow both Skagath's channels and Phoenixy's, and Blue Box, who's rated into us, of course. Here's some new. These are brand new. If you need the lurk, I got the lurk dragon egg and the lurk dragon. All right, lurk fire dragon, both done. And when we do raids, please hit this, then the animated raid ship. There you go. Yep. All right. So when we go into a raid, I got rid of the rip animated because I'm not a good enough. I'm not Tim. I'm not a killer DM, right? So, or John from Blue Box. I'm kidding, John. So we got the raid ship animated into. So there you go, and they're all, subs get them all, and so I got like 43 emotes now. It's insane. So, but thank you for the support, everyone. So the Sus, you can put almost anything you want in here. I've put skulks. I've put albino, the albino Sul, which are in here. I put a Sul Lich in here a little while ago. I don't remember that adventure. I put all sorts of wonderful things in this. As you can see, for the most part, there's nothing inside it, and it's dense. It's like old forest dense, and boggy. It's really dangerous, and I just love it. And if you notice this adventure down here, the Hidden Temple of Erythnol, which is in Vortex to number 8, Anna and I placed this because I ran it live stream. Mm-hmm. This is the adventure that actually connected my Reaper sponsorship way back in the day 2 years ago when I ran this, and Collins, Ron Hawkins saw it and was like, oh my gosh, you're running the Greyhawk adventure. So that's kind of how I got in with Reaper running this, but that's where we placed it. I know Rich says somewhere else, but who's Rich really? Longitalis, right? So, right, Anna, it's on your map here, so that's where it is. It's a great adventure. if you can find it. And it's a second edition, but you can convert it out. So look at all this stuff. Anna's working on a lot of this heraldry over here too, correct? All this.
Oh yeah, they're coming in new updated versions. Some of them are, my patrons have received the first and the second batch of them, and the rest of them will come too.
Yeah, and we're all doing it. You'll see some of mine. I've got like 10 done now. Anna's probably got 3 times that done.
I'm
a little
probably
bit of
about 30 or 40.
Yeah,
a bit over 40, maybe even 50 now that I've done out of almost 400.
Oh my. Well, I only have like 40 to do myself. So that's at least I got a little bit of a reprieve there. So thank you, everyone. Let me hit that up. So any comments about the first one we hit, the Sust Forest, one of my favorites?
Yeah. Have you ever, when's the last time you looked at the encounter charts for the Sust Forest?
I haven't. You mean the encounter charts from the World of Greyhawk Gazetteer?
Yeah.
What's in there, Mike?
A lot of nasty stuff. But one of the most curious things in the Sust Forest that I don't think you'll find on any of the other encounter charts is Sentient Trees. Doesn't say Treant, because that's elsewhere in the book. It's Sentient Trees.
Okay, so what I have them as Lurinakin, which are second edition, the dark ones that have dark hearted. That's what so because
the dark fate.
Yeah. It's but that's a good one, and they don't have to be evil. They don't have to be dark from that encounter table. That's a great point, Mike. That's the only place you find them, I believe, right? As far as
I always associate the Sust Forest with spiders.
True, that's another one. True, absolutely. That's another. That's absolutely another one too. Too. Very
I have there are 2 main reasons for the Sust Forest being so bad. One ancient and one kind of newer. And the ancient one is that I have it as connected to the Dark Fae, meaning there's a Fae incursion in the Flannies that goes from the Sust Forest all the way up to Vesfi through Sulkin, Gnarly, Veluna, and High Folk, and up to Selene. And for a lot of the part is more kind of the Elven Fae, or the light Fae, so to speak, for a large part of the area. But Sus got the bad end of the deal, so to speak. They got the other pockets of dark, but Sus was the where the really bad stuff ended up, so to speak, in connections. And that's, I also have it that's why Selene was placed where it was, to keep an eye on it, so to speak, a long time ago. That's how it grew, and a strong Elven community ended up so close to it because they wanted to keep an eye on it. And that, I also think that's the other reason why the Flan never settled the Wild Coast much, because they didn't like the Sust Forest, and the Gnarly and the Welkwood was kind of bad from a lot of perspectives. So it was not that keen if you're a primitive farmer or someone just herding your cattle. You don't go settle near the Sust Forest, so they kind of stayed away from it. And that was probably one of the original reasons that the Wild Coast became wild, so to speak, and never really conquered or settled or organized in any way, shape, or form. And then that's the old persistent reason that the Sust Forest is kind of the kind of the weird evil outhold or dark, whatever you might say. But then there's the other one, and that comes from the humanoid invasion. After they cleared up the Lord Mills and stuff, after Emerald Meadows and stuff, the humanoids came in and they didn't help, so to speak. So now you have 2 reasons. You have an old reason and a new reason, and they kind of coexist, and they also there's both tension and conflict and agreement, so to speak. They probably agree on not having any morals or ethics or whatnot, some of the creatures, but they're probably no friends, so to speak. So it's kind of interesting. So that's it's kind of a hodgepodge of various types of evils and other weird things in one area, which I think makes it a prime awesome adventure location.
It is, and I believe it extends further up, and partially the Welkwood in this is like an overlay.
I have it like gradually. It's all a little bit mystique, and it all has a Fae kind of connection to old forests and stuff like that, the whole way, even up through Veluna to some extent, all the way up in my campaign, all the way up to Vesfi.
So I'm asking this question, Cathay, from your readings, and I think Jason thought this, that Trachea was not the lost city of the Sus, correct? It was just an
It might be, but then we
Yeah.
have to find it. I put it in there because
well, it should go in
matches
there.
this description from the Gourd books.
Yeah.
And then Etraika was another. So I simply took two different myths and put them in one
Right,
spot.
right,
Yeah.
and just I thought
That's my artistic license.
yeah, no, I love
read
it there
about
because it says Sul
yeah.
Temple Ruins. It doesn't say Lost City of the Sus. It says Sul
No,
Temple Ruins. So it's perfect.
exactly. I try to.
Look how
That's
close
more,
it is to
sometimes I use
Speleologic.
names, and if it doesn't have a name, I try
Okay.
to just use the descriptor, so to speak.
Well, I've never heard of Etraika till today.
Yeah, I forgot where it came from. I think it's
Gourd
in a Worth
books.
Journal article.
No, it's Gourd books.
Okay, it is.
That's
Oh,
fine.
it's in the name.
It's in the second Gourd book.
Okay,
Artifact of-
I
it's in
don't
the
think
it's
the
in the
name
first or
was in
second
there,
book.
but I might be wrong. Yeah.
No, maybe it's in the first book. Yeah, I can fail.
Yeah, yeah. The Lost Soul City is in the books, but I'm not sure that the name Etraika comes. Hang on a second. We need to.
I'm
I
almost
need
positive
to,
it is.
I need to.
So
Anyhow,
no,
I put a link in the chat from my blog. I did a text
Awesome.
scroll campaign in the Sus for the Lost City.
oh,
this
very
year.
cool. So please look that up and try and convince Mike to start blogging again. Oh, that's an awesome one from 2013. Very, very cool. So
Nice.
note another thing of my old adventure before the Knights of Luna even existed. You have this symbol here, which is the Selene Sus Forest Night's Watch. That they patrol the borderlands of Selene, especially the Sus and there's only 12 of them. So that's my knighthood that was before. Yep.
Yeah, Etraika seems to be a living Greyhawk invention.
Really?
Yes.
So they don't call it a Etraika.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
mentioned in the Gourd books, but it's mentioned in various living Greyhawk adventures.
It could be that Jason just put 2 and 2 together because I'm positive he said.
Ooh.
Well, I put 2 and 2 together on the map placement. I just
Okay.
took that
Thanks, John.
story and the Gourd book story and just mashed them into one place on the map. So that's
Awesome. So as you go up, and we'll finish up this area here. You got the Welkwood, which is Grey Elven lands, right? And
I see them. The Gnarly, the Welkwood, and the Sus is basically one forest. They have just different names to different parts of it, but and a little bit different character depending on where you are. But it's kind of a gradual shift from one to the other.
Here's an interesting thing, though. No, I just read about this as I was kind of refreshing things. The Welkwood has a distinctive makeup. It's the size of the trees.
Yes.
Okay.
Larger.
Cool.
Like you go from Welkwood to Sus, you can like if you're from the air, you can.
The Welkwood's
tell
got
the
big
difference.
trees.
So you had the big ones to small bush.
Yeah.
And it's also a different climate. You get warmer, hotter, and drier further south. So it's more like Mediterranean in the south and more temperate in the north. So yeah, that too. And you probably have different magical and other.
Now it might be more gradual on the Gnarly side. I don't know.
Well,
You're going to get overload tonight, Fergie. we're not just going to go, oh, here's a forest. We're going to delve in deep to
this is
those.
2 hours.
Yes.
We haven't even
deep,
talked about
deep
specific
talk.
kind of trees yet,
Mhm.
Fergie.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's
no.
one of the cool things. I would love to make a tree list with like a tree book for the
That's a
Flannies,
great idea.
like trees with different. That's one of my to-do list when I've done all the other stuff or something. So I want to make them with like size silhouettes and sizes.
But you can't ever let WotC get a hold of it because once you put the kumquat trees in there, I don't want them. I don't want them taking.
No,
the
no.
lure.
We squeeze it out the hidden way here. So yeah. Yep.
That's a great idea though.
Yeah, I think it's
A lot of fruit
I want to
trees
do
aren't
one for bird.
discussed.
Exactly. I want to have trees like where different types of trees and the size, because it's cool. We have all the normal trees, but then we should have some magical ones and some planter trees and some other kind of fantastic trees that are not from the real world too.
Oh, definitely. Like the Ip and Ipt, right? And the Roanwoods. Or Roanwoods are once again, they're from magical as well. So if you swing up here, you got the Gnarly, and man, the Gnarly is very detailed as far as look at all the stuff going on. A lot of this is from the ashes, and not necessarily living Greyhawk. The Verbobonk mess over here is living Greyhawk.
It's been around for the longest, so to speak. So they've been having more modules and more TLC than any of the other forests.
And my Narwhal area all here is custom right in this area here.
Yeah.
But you got all the clans, you have all the this is all Sylvan Elven lands. So there's 4
Yeah.
clans that are
Yeah, they're also
noted
from the ashes.
from the ashes. The Gnarly
Yeah.
Forest Rangers are from the ashes. The
Yep.
Swan Maze are from the ashes as well that are here. You have Blackthorn, which is from the Free City Grok box set. Oak Vein from the Free City Grok box set. So you got a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
John, thanks. John, I got new Lurk emotes, man. You can use them too. There you go. They're the Loki emotes too. So we got that. We got those because hey, I aim to please here. You got it. You got a Green Dragon's Lair that Anna's put in here, which is awesome.
Well, yeah, that one, and we have another one that Rothcore is down there. It goes south of Mistrin. There you have Rothcore, and
there
and
he is. Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Varnafane.
green dragon from Saga of Old City. I just named him. That's my
awesome.
my contribution to it.
Yeah,
I
that's
named him from my campaign.
great.
But yeah, but the dragon itself is the big green dragon that I don't think is named in the cord book. So I gave him a name. Yeah.
So thank you all so very much for the wonderful support here as the community is growing. Let's keep it rolling for everyone. Let's do it. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Phoenixy. Thank you. And look, nice. Got some nice lurk ones there. Thank you so very much. All right. So that is, I found this interesting here. That there's a Greyhawk River Patrol here in the.
Yeah. Well, it's the Salinton River they patrol. So yeah. So that's why I had to put it next to it because there's so much stuff there. So yeah.
Yeah, 2 Ford and all that's here, and
Yep.
so even Divers is on the border of this. So you got monstrous area of some really. Thank you, Bill, the Master Crafter.
Yeah.
Where you see the stuff Bill's done tomorrow night. Oh my, wonderful stuff.
Yeah. Just west of the Gnarly, there are a couple of almost forgotten little forests. There are some of the smaller ones, the Ironwood and the Dapplewoods.
And Asnath Copse. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
that
Asnath Copse is one of these minor woodlands that are named, so to speak. There are probably another 30 or so, odd 20, 30, 40 small ones that are named. But the Dapplwood and the northern and the southern Dapplwood and the Ironwood are some of the, and there is also the Relgewood, whatever it's called, in the southern bit of Ironwood is called the Relgewood. That is from the Living Greyhawk, I presume, because it's in that Verbobonk area.
Sort of Dapplwood.
Yep. But I like the name Dapplwood and the Ironwood are kind of cool. So
they're cool, and I've
there.
never ventured in any of these areas, even though they're so close. Like because you got, as you can see down here, you have Emerity Meadows is right here. Null Temple of Elemental Evil is all right in this area. As you can see, there's the Emerity's Run, and then beyond that, for any of you the old schoolers, TEEs, we haven't gone into that direction. But there's some cool, there's small name forests everywhere, which is fantastic. Yep. We're going to show some later on, especially one that Len Lakofka edited, did some edits for right before he passed.
Yeah,
so,
and there's some coming on this map. The latest update that I haven't put is on my to-do list.
Very cool.
Because we had a session before he passed, like a month before, I think it was, when we added some stuff. And there's actually a Len Lakofka version of the map, so I need to bring those stuff in there.
Let's go. Was Sobinwich ever fleshed out?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Not in detail, as far as I know.
Yeah. A lot of the places are noted in adventures, especially Living Greyhawk adventures, but maybe not fleshed out.
Yeah, that just maybe mention of a name of an inn, the name of an NPC, and that's about it.
Or they were destroyed in Living Greyhawk. I'm just kidding.
That too.
All right, let's go to the eastern side of the map here, Mike. What do you want to pick?
We're on the eastern side of the map?
Wherever you want to pick.
All right. Eastern side of the map.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ghostwood.
Okay, that's a good one.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
This is an awesome one.
Regretfully, never utilized it much, but I like the I like that it has the phosphorant tree, and so it gives this ghostly look to it, and interestingly, I wanted to point, the reason I brought that one up first is because there is an article I want to point out to people in Dragon Annual #3.
Oh,
It's called Falcon's Bazaar,
Nice.
and it's set in the world of Greyhawk, and it's a bunch of mundane items, and one of them is called Luminous Paste, which is made from the Frostwood tree, and it's like a paste you can paint on dungeon walls or whatever, and it'll glow. So that's a good article. Check it out.
This is in Casey's wheelhouse, as he says it's called glowy wood to them, you know, because of
Oh,
because
yeah.
of that.
Mhm.
So
Glowy
and Dimri's
wood,
here, the theocracy of Dimri, which is
Yep.
huge
Yeah.
Mhm.
for a lot of adventuring right in the Bandit Kingdom edge.
Yeah.
So
And I think right out of the book, sorry, and then just to finish that off,
Yeah, go for
right
it.
out of the book, I think it says that even just a branch from a Frostwood. So if you're just walking through the woods, pick up a branch, it says it lights up a 5-foot radius.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
And I just wanted to mention that the part of the Frostwood that is south of the Yule River is called Netherwood.
Yeah.
That is-
yeah,
So, but I don't think the forest is different. It's just that for geographical reasons, the Pales and the Nyrons are probably called the part south of the river for Netherwood. So yeah.
well, from what I read, and Netherwood is definitely an overlooked place to me at any rate.
Yeah.
And I think the most distinctive part of that is that it's wholly owned by the Doctors of the Pale. And it's also got a lot of giant beetle-like monsters in it.
Mhm.
That makes it distinctive. So go figure.
So a lot of
Casey says spiders too.
yeah. You wouldn't know unless you delved deep into lore, or you're playing in a Living Greyhawk group, or you're really in depth. Like, I know everything about the Sus, Gnarly, and Welkwood because I play there. I don't know any of this about Frostwood, and that's the great thing about like this discussion tonight. You're going to find out little tidbits that may interest you about. Oh man, I'd love to have an event. I'd love to be adventuring there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So and Valmokos is lots of escapees from the theocracy. So those that are being persecuted religiously or whatever are
Right.
escaping into the Frostwood, and that's a great point there, Michael.
Yeah, the Pale
Yeah.
owns part of it, but it's really this crossroads for the 10 and the bandits and all that.
Yeah, and after the war, the Palites overran the eastern bit, so to speak, and occupied that bit, and the north of it, the Iusians took its part. But in my campaign, 10 held on to a little bit because I didn't want to kill off completely. So they're holding off to a little bit. Now I haven't adventured in the area, so I haven't figured out what I want to happen because it's now gone 20 years after the war in my campaign. So I will see what happens with that area. It's been kind of just sitting there waiting to be developed, kind of thing.
Okay, Anna, you're up.
Okay, I want to mention one that has a fancy big name that is kind of second biggest, and that's the Grandwood in the east, and it's kind of it's not it's not mentioned much, but there is one thing that I found out when I started doing the 576 map last year is that it was basically the hunting grounds for the Overking.
So you weren't allowed there.
Yeah, exactly. So it was the Imperial Preserve. So it was the Overking's kind of private hunting grounds, and that's probably why
Only because he built his capital next to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
So
elves
he
there
wanted
were
to,
like,
to have
"What?"
his So he wanted to have his own hunting grounds and probably like a park recreational area and his hideout, so to speak. And it's kind of and from what we heard in the stories, the Adri and the Grandwood and the Gamboj, and it was probably one big forest across that whole area, but that started to be chopped down thousands of years ago. So now it's distinct forest, and especially since you have the Flamni Valley that has been settled for thousands of years in between the Adri and the Grandwood, so they kind of shrunk in size and became two distinct forests, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people don't realize that, but that makes total sense that these in the old, kind of like the forest and all of Middle Earth were all connected, but then they got chopped down.
Europe was covered in forest in the Stone Age and then got cut down gradually over time.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So that
but it's interesting that, and you have a couple of the locations. There's a couple of rifts that ended up in one in Adri and one in the Grandwood, and the Grandwood have one called the Spiker Rift. And there is also a gold dragon, Amri or something like that, that is from Ivy the Undying, I think. And she is
This
helping
gold
the
chasm,
Rangers
you
and-
mean here?
Yeah, exactly. That's the other one. So there's a couple of these little
Okay.
tiny rifts that ended up in the gold chasm is one in the Adri, and the spike rift is in the Grandwood.
Okay.
But you have the Riven Wind is another one of these sites that
There
I
it is.
forgot exactly what it was for, but you have some resistance to the Overking in the Grandwood, and there is a gold dragon who lives there too, a young one that she kind of hangs
Cool.
out doing things. And it's also interesting, a barrier between Relastra gets its own domain east of the Grandwood, so to speak, and very separate from the central lands of
Because of the
so-
river, I guess.
Yes, yeah, and also the Grandwood is one of these kind of barriers between that gives Relastra its separation from central Great Kingdom. So it's kind of, and forests, I think forests were probably huge barriers, especially since a lot of them are full of weird monsters and stuff. I don't think people will go too deep into to cut firewood and stuff if you could be eaten by a spider that is like 10 feet wide or whatever. Even a 5-foot wide spider might be nasty big enough. So I think the tarantulas here are big in Southern California when you're out hiking. So I can just
Oh.
imagine something 10 times bigger would be nasty. So it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And
So the
yeah, we have the
Adri,
biggest one. Yeah, we
yeah.
have the biggest one here.
the
Yeah.
Adri with the Coldwood Bitterness, and then Prince Miro's Hold, which is
Yeah.
pretty neat. So
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, he's one of the Death Knights or the Animus or whatever he was that has least claim to the throne of Rossi. So he keeps like a pseudo court of undeads and stuff like that, waiting to see if he can ever get his chance to come back to and claim his throne. I forgot how legitimate his claim is, but he's an kind of a princeling of the Great Kingdom. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
and explain this the Coldwood and Bitterness to Mike or Anna, please.
Yeah, Mike, you made a wonderful map and an
Mhm.
article about it some years ago. Yeah.
I don't remember if I did a map, but
Oh yes, you did. It's the most beautiful elven map of the Elven Kingdoms ever made. Yes.
It's not a map
Yes.
of the Coldwood. It's just a
No,
map.
but it's a map of what it
The
was
Flannis.
before it became the Coldwood.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, Coldwood is just the remains of the city of Summer Stars, Elven City.
Yep.
And it's cursed and cold, and it's monitored by Elven sentinels, so no one goes in there because there's a big soul-sucking sword that can be found there.
No big deal.
It's weird, but it's such a big forest that it's not probably the only weird thing in there.
Yeah. And
Uh,
once
sorry.
again, note in these, look at all this open space you have for your own development, right?
Mhm.
So you got it everywhere. So if you want to do, a little Elven
Meaning
campaign,
it's 100,000 square miles in size or something
I mean,
like
you
that.
could
Meaning
prep-
that's the
put a
big, that's
whole-
the size of the UK.
Yeah.
you could put a whole
or-
domain of Ravenloft in there.
yeah.
But it's interesting that Adri have kept an enclave of Elvendom, even if it's most of it is cursed Elvendom. But there is a remnant kind of just a little bit of the old Elvendom in Adri is still there, even
Yeah.
despite the fact that it's only 200 miles away from Rossi's, which is kind of interesting. So there might be a lot of more hidden things in there, meaning a
Oh,
million
for
square
sure.
miles of forest can hide a lot of stuff.
Which is the cool thing about the world of Greyhawk and making it
Yep,
your own.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
We should probably mention the most centrally located forest that is in a way a very important location when it comes to forest, and that's the Celadon forest.
Yeah.
Often overlooked because it's not one of the biggest, but it is a very, in some ways, important because according to, I forgot what sources, but that's where the Grand Druid is supposed to hang out.
yeah.
And so it's the center of the old faith, which might mean that might have been around since early Flandays, Flandays, or something like that for thousands of years. It's been the center of old faith and Druidism, and that means that it's kind of interesting in that way, and it's also interesting in one other way that I think it's really interesting. Is that it has the biggest river of the Flandays going straight through it,
And it's navigable, isn't it?
Exactly. The Nesser is wide and navigable.
Yeah.
It's like the Volga or the
Yeah.
Mississippi or something in size. It's one of these huge rivers that you can basically sail up and down if you want to.
I'm going to say another thing that's really interesting about this is between Woodwitch and Broadwater, there
Yeah.
is an established trail. A lot of the forests don't have
yeah.
that, running
Yeah,
all the way the length of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it might be simply because it's been around so long. Meaning
Right.
civilization around Celadon has been around for thousands of years, and then just added to. Meaning the Flan were here, and then all the migrations you had both the Erdi and Samsul and added to it. So it's been surrounded by civilizations. It's almost like they left part of it out of an homage or because it contained stuff, so to speak, that they wanted to preserve.
Can
in a
either
way.
of you tell me about the Spurned Veil?
Yeah, I think it's
Nope.
it's something that came from the living Greyhawk. Hang on a second.
That's
I'll
why.
give me a chance. To,
They
to-
killed everything in.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But that's pretty neat. So I
Yeah.
love
because
how it
the-
follows the river. So
yeah. You need to spell it correctly here. Yeah, because the LG they actually made some really good
and
maps.
this is Ernst. This is actually an Ernst.
Yeah, so they made some good maps from
Mm-hmm.
Niron. Hang on a second here. So
Wow, Valmoku says, because he's a Niron guy, an area owned by Ernst but occupied by Niron, kind of the Wild West.
Hmm.
So it's in the middle of the forest. So
no, it's
Cool, thank
it's
you.
on the Ernst side of the river. So that's why I just put it there, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
but it's mentioned in various sources, both the Living Greyhawk stuff, and it also mentioned in some Dungeon magazine for apparently.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
here.
see here. I'll see if it's just, it might be an OCR stuff that.
Still,
hang on
it's
a second
cool.
here.
Once again, an area I've
No,
never
that
used.
was a wrong lead. It was just Spurned. It
So,
had nothing to do
Valmoku
with
says
Oh,
refugees
okay.
in the war migrated there. I guess because there's farmable land
it's
in
a
this
hidden
area.
valley, or kind of
Yeah.
a hidden area, open area in the middle of the forest.
I would
Probably a good
say,
idea.
I would worry because of the way the river flows here, that would be susceptible to major flooding. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right? Because it looks like it's a huge oxbow almost, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be really worried about that. But
Hang on a second. It's
Very
let's see
cool.
if it might be mentioned in The Adventure Begins, and if that's the source, then it's probably the original source.
hey, Amy, good to see you.
Amy.
So the adventure begins is 2.5, right? Roger Moore's.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I'm just going to see if I can
It's
get
like
my
Deadwood. Uncle
PDF
Fuzz
reader
says.
to cooperate with me here.
Very cool. Thank you all for all the follows tonight. Really
No,
appreciate
we
it.
didn't have an exact match there, so
Okay.
that was a little bit of a guess.
No problem. I
But
guess
we have some in the Living Greyhawk. We have some, and so I think, and it's on the.
Good to see you,
It's
Amy.
part of that, but it's mentioned. Hang on a second. I need to make sure that I get the whole both
Elven
word here.
Kingdoms.
Elven Kingdoms are always fun.
So I think Celadon's supposed to be one of the old Elven kingdoms.
Yeah.
I
Hang on
don't
a
know
second,
what
we-
the
Sylvan,
state
though,
of
I
that
thought
is
it
The
was.
today.
Savoda Index seems to have it.
It's
So there we go.
It's
Yeah.
It's discussed in the Marklands too. Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. Yeah.
It could be.
There we go. So yeah, so it's definitely canon then, or in published
Yeah.
sources. So it's not something I made up. So yeah. So
Well,
there we go.
Well, it's. I think Pendrake. It's too big to just say it's a clearing or whatever in the forest. I think they just call it a vale because of the size. That's a large. That's 50 miles across.
Mm-hmm.
It's long. I mean, that's a
Oh
lot.
yeah,
of,
it's yeah.
It's like
I didn't know how big to make it, but I made
Yeah.
it big enough to be interesting, so to speak, to really, because
Yeah.
if they talk about it as a kind of a huge thing in the area, it's more
Yeah.
than a mile across. So it's
Hmm.
something that it's a feature that you have such an open area inside the forest. So yeah,
Let's continue with
a
our
huge clearing.
this side. What forest do we have here? The Timberway up in Rotic.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting.
Conifer, right? Looks like
yeah,
it.
exactly. The
Right.
conifer, because it's up close to the polar circle, but it's interesting because it's a bit like the forests that are in Scandinavian forest, probably as close to the Scandinavian forest you can come in the Flanders, because you have that oceanic, cold, temperate, but oceanic, very humid climate. So it's very good for pine forests and evergreen
Like they just
trees.
soak
so to
that
speak.
water coming off
Yeah,
the water. Yeah.
it's a bit like you have in the Pacific West Coast, northern Vancouver, and further up the coast, so to speak. That type of climate. So Scandinavia or the northern Pacific coast is the same, like central Canada and stuff like that. So there you have that type of climate. So you have probably large evergreen trees, fairly mild winters for being that far north, so to speak, along the coast. But as soon as you go inland a bit up the hills, you get bitterly cold quickly, so to speak. So it's kind of that's why you have it as a coastal thing there, so to speak.
Well, what's cool is that I know we have a huge number. Yeah, taiga, biome, exactly. A huge number of people who adventure in Rotic. Rotic is
it's like coastal taiga, so to speak. A lot of the taiga is inland taiga, and we have forests like that we can look at. But this is coastal taiga, like Scandinavia, Kamchatka, the Pacific, like the Canadian West Coast, the southern Alaskan coast, and stuff. That's where you have the similar type of climate on Earth, like the Timberway.
And you have a lot going on up here. It's been a lot of development up here, which is really.
But it's good in resources. It's probably good fishing, whaling in the ocean. You have lots of big timbers and stuff like that. So it's probably a cool place to economically to be, so to speak.
And it's kind of isolated when you think about it. Because you got the barbarians here, and you have the Bone March below with all the humanoids. And then you have this swath. I guess a lot of it comes in maritime.
And also think that it's one of the reasons that the southern bit, like up to Marner, is probably a bit like Murmansk in Russia. It's one of the last ports that are open all year round. If you go further north, it will freeze over in the winter. So that's probably one of the reasons you have more up there. Marner is a big city up there because it's probably open all year round. That's having that warm water flows up along the coast, and that's the end point of the warm currents, so to speak. And if you go north of it, then hell freezes over. So that's the barbarians don't raid in winter, because Ikul and the other cities, ports up there, are frozen over in winter, except the ones that are further out in the coast, so to speak. But the one in the Grindep, But it's a cool place. And there you have the sibling of it is there on the right there. The Loftwood is basically the same, but a little bit warmer and just south of it. But it's part of the same climate. And I also have, I presume that the Timberway and the Loftwood were probably connected once, but they cut down most of the trees along the coast because for boat building and stuff over centuries, and that's probably why so I'm kind of curious why the Loftwood was left, but I don't know.
Probably because all the humanoids, right? Because the humanoid activity
exactly.
is
It might be
huge.
that the humanoids came out and settled, so it might be it's too close to Bone March and people don't like it. So there you have it.
Surrounded more than isolated. Yeah, it is surrounded. And that's why people love adventuring in that area, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Plus 10. Don't worry about it. That's why we do these.
Yeah.
I'm learning stuff. I don't use the side of the map.
So now you've had the coastal evergreen and the coastal taiga. Let's go in and see more of their two. They're a good example of the inland taiga, and that's the Bernal Forest south of the land of black ice. There you have the Siberian taiga of the Flanders, so to speak. It's the inland kind of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this the largest forest in the?
That and I think the Adri, the Vesvi, and the Bernal are the biggest. So but there might be a distortion. We don't know the projection of this map really. So it might be that this northerly forest is actually smaller, depending on the projection a little bit. So we'll see. We tweak it? Exactly, projections are a problem, and so because we don't know the projection of the Darlene map, so we have to kind of massage the end result a little bit.
Right.
So that's why the
eastern part of
SV might be the, or Adri might be the biggest, depending on so it's more a projection issue. Yeah.
What an area! I mean, it's probably cold here all the time, and it's
Yeah,
north of
th- this-
Blackmore.
Yeah, and it's if you take the Timberway that is more humid and has a little bit more even climate in all year round. Here you have probably fairly hot summers. For a few months in the summer it's kind of nice and warm, but it's more dry and the winters are bitterly cold, and then all of a sudden it switches. It's like in Canada, Siberia, meaning even further up in Canada you have like 6 or 8 weeks of real warm, so to speak, or like even Michigan and stuff. You can have like a warm summer and even a hot summer, and then all of a sudden you get brutally cold. It's that inland climate. You're far away from the oceans, so
Got a
that,
glacier.
yeah, and then you
backing
have
it up.
the black ice that we
Yeah.
don't really know the nature of. So the northern part is probably frozen over, and so it's like in you have in Canada, Siberia, or
and it stretches from an ocean to a swamp.
Yeah, and you have the very western edge are the opposite. They are similar to the Timberway, but on the western side, so to speak. So there you have more of a coastal, and then the eastern side is more. So I think that most of the Bernal Forest is probably smaller trees, more stinted in growth, not the huge pine trees and spruces and stuff you will find in the Timberway or on the it's in large part what you will find in northern Canada stuff. The trees aren't 300 feet tall. They're maybe 100 feet tall at the tallest, but there are lots of them, enormous amounts of them over huge areas. So to
Look
speak.
at this. I didn't even know this. Merlin's
Yep.
Castle's up here.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It's one of the most remote coastlands in
I don't
Awesome.
remember
the
that
Flatties.
reference.
Yep.
Wow. Is that done up anywhere or just
Oh
noted
yeah,
there?
it's mentioned that he has his
but it's
hideout is
wow.
up there somewhere. Yep.
Yeah.
It's mentioned. I forgot where, but it's mentioned somewhere in
The
some
mine
of
grave.
the
That
yeah.
sounds crazy.
Don't go looking for details.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
have another people, the Urtag or whatever they're
Yeah, here
called.
they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have
Urtag.
that's
Okay.
one of the old natives. I don't know if they're Flan people or I think,
Flan.
okay, yeah.
Flan.
There you go. Yeah.
And
So
they
they
would
are
be
hiding out there.
the originals.
Yeah.
So would
And
they
then
be
when the Backlunish moved in, then some other tribes developed out of that.
Are they
So
like
they are kind of
mixing.
related to the Rovers and others.
are
They're
they
more
like
kind of the-
woads? I would think the woad would fit
Yeah.
that type. No?
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know the
Britain?
culture.
I think they're described as the native human
They
population.
Picts.
live in huts made
Yeah.
of the boughs of the trees there.
Oh wow, cool.
Ooh, cool. Yep.
That's neat.
See, there you go.
Very
And
cool. And they
when
got
we
camps
are on
all
the
throughout.
western side of the map, let's go down the coast, and then we have the Timberway, but the western part. And now we're in the place that is very
Oh, the western part
similar
of the
to the Vancouver area or the Utgru Forest.
Timberway.
That
Okay.
is, I think now we're in the
yes.
Vancouver or of the area of the
There we go.
Flannies, so to speak. We have an area that is on the southern slopes of really tall mountains, and you get lots of, it's like a cold rainforest.
Oh
You
wow.
have very wet climate with cold, not super cold winter, but it's kind of cool to cold all year round, but a lot of moisture, but seldom freezes over, so to speak.
And
So
this
it's a cold rainforest, a bit like Oregon or like the British Columbia, parts of British Columbia and stuff like that. That type
this
of
is the
climate.
Caliphate of Ekbir?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So further up north, it's up the slope, so to speak. You get like Siberian almost at the top, like wet Siberia, and then it gets warmer and warmer, and you have like a temperate forest. So you have pine and spruce and stuff at the top end, and then it gets more leafy and evergreen and oak and whatnot at the closer to the coast, so to speak.
According to what I read, the Udgru forest has an abundance of galda trees, which
Yeah.
are specific to the world of Greyhawk,
Oh.
and a popular fruit-bearing tree.
Yeah.
What kind of fruit do they bear? What is it
Galda
similar to?
fruits.
The galda fruit.
Is
Yep.
it like citric? Strong
Oh,
citric?
I'm
or
not sure what but it's mentioned here and there. And I would also have that the Udgru is probably one of the most art-rich or species-rich forests because it has several climate zones. It has at least 3 climate
Okay.
zones in it. So,
That's
so you have
interesting.
everything from Arctic bushes up high to almost Mediterranean at the or warm temperate at the lower latitudes or lower elevations.
Let's go to our favorite of
Yeah, there you have some
multiple
interesting
forests
ones
in
here.
the Grand
Yep.
Duchy Geoff.
Yep.
Okay,
Geoff.
Jay. Galdas are astringent and salty to the palate,
Salty, love it.
Oh,
but the
cool.
fruit is both refreshing and nutritious.
Ah.
Thank you, Cathay. Carrot trees, multiple seeds are high in protein. All right.
Yeah.
A salty.
Persimmons. Yeah.
That's interesting. Very, very cool. Well, thank you, our scribe, and thank you, everyone. So we got the Hornwood, we got the Oitwood, and the Dim Forest, all within Grand Duchy of Geoff. So
Yeah,
it's forest
probably one-
filled.
Yeah, biologically one forest, but then being chopped down and
Right.
and given different names. But it has different natures. Dim forest seems to have been kind of more shadowy and different in nature than Oitwood, and then Hornwood is different a little bit too. So yeah, but it's also different because they are further in Geoff. You go the further up the mountain, the colder it probably gets when you go up in elevation, so to speak. So the parts of the Hornwood are probably more like the Alaskan forest up really high up in the mountains, and the Oitwood and the Dim forest are probably closer to Mediterranean forest.
Okay, yeah, because it's always been, because I think the idea here was it's kind of surrounded by the mountains, and they kind of missed when the Baccalaureate Soul came out and the Iridians came out. They just bypassed this for some reason, so it's still very strong flan here too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it probably because the terrain is kind of difficult. It's a lot of places to hide.
It's bordered too by rivers.
You have small valleys up in the mountains full of trees, meaning you can hide out there forever.
Yes, it's a very, very cool place, and we've discussed the Fae in this area with Eric Mengi and Jose Ortiz, and we've also discussed a lot.
We
of
seem
what's
to have
going on
similar to the Sus and the Welkwood and the Gnarly, and seems to be a similar story here to some degree.
Excellent. All right, so let's go to some small ones that I know a little bit about, and you do too.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just going to let Minnie out the door here.
So we have the Axewood and the Silverwood, and both
Sylvan Forest.
Both Sylvan elves. And in fact, a lot of the Sylvan elves, Imri, which is, if you know Imri in my campaign, and his Ranger Mage, comes from the Axewood. Sierra, Stella's a Ranger Thief, who's half Sylvan Elf, half Dark Elf, comes from here. We put a lot of our Sylvan elves from these two realms, particularly the Axewood. Now, Len was kind enough to do a little work on the Axewood before he passed. And let me just pop this up. So we have some, whoops, of course it didn't, let me move it over to the right screen here. So this is off the Darlene map, but here's what Len had done, which is kind of
I have
neat.
that on. We have a version on my map with that stuff in.
Okay, great.
We spend a couple hours, so that's coming on this update too.
He just says fruit trees here. Do you know what kind you put?
Yeah, I don't really know, but, but those are they will. I don't need to spell that out on my map. That's something, but we will see if we can get there's a couple of settlements and stuff in there, so that will be what will actually end up on the map, so to speak. Yeah.
So not that big, Tim. It's a good question. I would say 2 to 3 hexes, and it got named on the map. What do you think, Anna? Is that about the right size for it to be named?
Well, on the Darlene map, there are not that many. Well, yeah, that one is more like 5 hexes or something.
It's one of the smaller ones.
Named.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually one of the smallest, I think, that are named on the
because there's one campaign there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it's also, if it's mentioned in the text more significantly, then it also gets named on the Darlene map, because there is a forest in the eastern side of the map that is way bigger than Axewood, and that doesn't have a name on the map.
And you have the Silverwood, which is really interesting because it's smushed in between 2 rivers, right? The Cool and the what's the other? What's this?
I forget.
The Sheldomar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
The Sheldomar
yeah.
River. Yep.
And
That's the valley's
another
name.
Sylvan Elf realm with some high elves, if I recall, in this one as well.
Yeah.
And this one tends to be Axwood tends to be a little more older, like the elves are much like more reclusive than they are in the Silverwood. Silverwood they tend to
Okay. Yeah.
work with Keeland and the Duchy of York a little bit more in this area. So just what I've seen and
You can kind of tell that from the the number of roads and settlements
Yes.
and stuff are more in the Silverwood than it is in Axwood. Yeah.
Feels a little more like this may sound strange, but it
Yeah.
feels a little more Lorien-ish. This does than this Axwood feels a lot more like the Old Forest type, where it's it's
Yeah.
a little more
It's like
rustic.
Welkwood or something
Yeah,
in
yeah, even
Middle
though it's
Earth.
small, but
yeah,
both
but-
are cool.
Mhm.
So.
And Len wanted to take a road straight through Axwood.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not so sure that I really want that.
No.
So
Well,
he
you
just
have
took a
this.
road through.
You have this
yeah.
pass going through it on this side.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm more inclined of even removing that. But that was
Well,
part of
or
a
moving
living
it
Greyhawk
south.
map.
Moving it.
Yeah, we can probably. I should probably remove
Link
that.
it up with
I'll
this one.
Put a note there, and we
Okay.
kind of move it out.
Yeah,
a
I
bit.
agree.
Sounds
And
like
we-
the plot of a Western.
Thanks.
We're going to
Yeah.
put this railroad through
Yeah,
here.
Exactly. We just move things a bit here and yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I love the Sheldomar. It's where we've always adventured main part. Except
Ooh.
we're saving like the best for last, I think, for this area of the map.
Savings.
And let's go up here. The most detailed, and if you have the Marklands and the Eyes of the Evil, you're going to get a whole mouthful of. And I have a full group up adventuring up here, and that is the Vespi.
I wasn't even going to bring the Vespi up.
No,
I feel we talk about the Vespi a
we
lot.
do talk about the Vespi a lot.
Collaterally.
Yeah,
Collaterally.
we do, but it deserves its
Sure.
its discussion because you have the Valley of the High Folk running here.
Definitely
Mhm.
got regions.
Yes, you have the lands of the Timeless Tree where the Grey Elves realm is. You have the Beastman's Forest. We actually have a keep, a campaign keep here, the Eagle's Nest, and up here we have the Sylvan Elven area. I don't even know what the Velvet Empire is. Is that
That's a living Greyhawk
That's a living Greyhawk, okay.
invention, I think. So yeah, I
All right.
don't like the title, but I like the idea that there is a green dragon living up there. But I don't like the Velvet Empire.
Yeah,
mention.
maybe I think we should strike that.
I was just going to say, yeah, we should probably
Strike it from the record. No, okay. So, and you have a lot of infighting going on between the IU's forces about halfway through this. So you got a lot of great things going on. The Defiled Glades is also the remnants of a fight during the invasion, and there's so many dead, and dead humans, dead humanoids, knights, all sorts of things in this area. So you have fun adventuring, and we actually have a campaign area where there's a grove in there that they're rebuilding
Yep.
the grove. And Anna, you're thinking about doing some adventuring up here, correct? Hey,
Well,
Patrick.
Yeah. I've developed
Wow.
the Vespi significantly over the past 5 years because I'm kind of interested. So for me, it's the last Celine and the Heartlands up there. They are the last. They are the true Elven realms, so to speak. So they have, and you have up in the. Hang on a second here. I need to so I can say the names properly here. So you have. So I call it the Taranal, and that, Mike, it's your invention, I think, from your map. So
Oh, boy.
I took it there, and so Kershani, that is a living Greyhawk Pearland invention, I think.
Okay.
So that's an Elven city. So I made that the last
Here it is.
remaining
This-
of the Elven mountain cities.
Lands are right here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there. But on that map in the Living Greyhawk campaign, it was part of Perenland, and I said, no way, the elves are not succumbing
No.
to Perenlanders. So
I
in
would
my
say they're
campaign,
independent.
that's actually Instad and Kershani is or Kershane, or wherever you pronounce it, or Kersane. They are the elven bastions of elvendom, so to speak. So they
Okay.
are. And it's called the Elven Heartlands. That's what they kind of call it. And the Elven realm of Taranal is what it's called. So it's the Elven part, and the High Folk is one province of it, and that province has special rights because the humans have the right to transfer from Perrin Land down to Valuna and stuff. That was an agreement that the elves made.
Because you have a monastery here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yes.
High Folk is a, and I know Dungeon Meister who did the High Folk in the what do you call it, cards, who has all the great stuff on DeviantArt. Adventured in this area, and High Folk's interesting because you have humans living coexisting with High Elves, coexisting with Grey Elves, coexisting with gnomes all throughout this area. It's really a land of cooperation.
And to me, that was the compromise that the Great Kingdom and the elves, they struck the compromise and say that valley should be open to all, so to speak. So it was a compromise between the two, and Valuna was the guarantor on one side and the elves on the other side, and they cooperate to police it and make sure that things don't go haywire. But the elves and dwarves and humans and everybody could go through in trade and in peace, so to speak. So that's why you have a High Folk. It's one of these political oddities that comes through treaty and stuff. So that's how I sold it in my campaign, and it was basically so the Great Kingdom could expand into Perrin Land, and the High Folk is kind of a new politically neutral area in some ways. It doesn't belong either to the elves or to the Great Kingdom. But now in my campaign, since Perrin Land took its independence, the elves have taken over High Folk more fully, but they still grant humans and stuff access to go through it. So
So the great thing about adventuring in this,
Pendrake has a question.
Morn can have a forested valley tucked away somewhere.
Yeah, I put him maybe a little bit too high. He's in the southern Yahtils, west of the High Folk. There is Mordenkainen. Has a place
so here
there.
I see Wolf's Horn, Lost Caverns, the Shokanth.
It's a bit further north.
Temple of Tharsden.
Obsidian Citadel.
There it is. There it is.
Yep. Yep. Oh, you don't have the heraldry on your version.
Oh, there you go, Anna. We can add that when we do an update. So
and that is Brian Bloomklutz, I think, who made the heraldry.
Mordenkainen heraldry.
Yep, I think he did.
All right, let me put that down. Add Morty heraldry.
And then you have the cool place called Verbeg Hill, which is kind of funny because it's a travesty of, or like a version of Very Big Hill. So Verbigs. Yep.
Yep. There's a lot of great things.
Yeah.
A lot of depth in the map, and if you unlike other areas, this area is very detailed. Well, detailed for a thing this size in those books. So you have, if you want it to have some references, they're here. The Defile Glaze is written up. If Buildermaster Crafter's on, he'll tell you. The Torch of Groomsh is noted in here. There's all sorts of great different subgroups in here. There's Knights of the Heart running around up here, the High Folk version of them. There's great things that you can utilize in your campaign that are in published source, because you got down, on the edge here, you got Serenal's Tower, Castle Nestra. You have all sorts of great things right on the border, and developed cities like Flameflower. In the realm of the Timeless Tree is here. Lyric's Tower, all great things.
Mark Lands is your friend.
Yeah, pluck your eye out, exactly. So that's a good one there. So we wanted to bring that one up. So shall we? We're an hour in. What do you think, Anna?
Yeah.
Here we go. We haven't talked about any jungles yet.
No, we haven't. So let's go down and do the hot parts of the world.
All right. Well, all right. Shall we do? Let's.
Oh yes, please. Let's do Hepmona Land and.
All right. Here we go. As we can see, we have this map. Look at the size of that. It's so crazy how big it is. I didn't realize it was that big. So, all right, we'll start over here. All right, you got a ton of See, it goes in a little quicker. You have your Medial Jungle, and you have a lot going on in the Medial here. Wow, see, it's hard to. There we go. You have Sassarine here, which is developed in Living Greyhawk, and you have all your port. Notice these are all Lordship of the Isles at this point in this 576 map. They're not Scarlet Brotherhood.
In my campaign, the Scarlet Brotherhood only took the eastern side of the Medial, not the western side in Jeklia Bay.
I
Yeah.
like it. Not living Greyhawk. Yeah, from the ashes there.
So
Sorry.
let's get
So you also have the Cauldron, which is post retconned in here, right?
Yeah, and the
From
same thing with Sasserine that was added by the Paizo Hawk
Right.
in for the campaign. So and Cauldron is it's retcon or like added in, but so is a lot of earlier stuff like the Ghost Tower of Inverness, White Plume Mountain, and several other
you mean
stuff. It was
Tomokon,
also
Ghost
Yeah.
Towers, yeah. Tomokon,
Yeah.
which is on the other side of the map, if I recall.
Oh, but Inverness, the one that is in Woolly Bay. Is
that was
also-
placed after the fact.
Yeah, that's
specifically
also
placed.
yeah. They were written as convention modules and then shoehorned in Greyhawk afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's a tradition that we got lots of stuff
Yeah.
that was written generically and then added into Greyhawk. But Sasserine and Cauldron and stuff are cool locations because area that wasn't developed at all.
No,
That
true.
Paizo did some cool stuff and added, and it's my heraldry. That's all
Yeah.
my design. So if you don't like it, you blame me.
Yeah, but James
yeah,
Jacobs did could develop Sasserine
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
the Savage.
And I
Stone.
took the symbol of the god of that they have, and it's also the bridge that is on the most magnificent architectural wonder of the city, that is the black silhouette, and then it's the color of the blue and the color of the red of the so it's I tried to tie into the setting as much as possible. So
Very cool.
it's chord symbol, and then it's I forgot the whatever the other god of that has a big temple in the city and stuff. So it's that's
But
what
as you
it's-
see, the jungle's huge.
Yep, it's huge. Yep. Mhm.
Huge, and you have all these like little forts along, like hop forts for the lordship.
Yeah, and I have it that the Sea Princess, and then later was taken in depending on if you go with the Living Greyhawk and from the ashes and stuff, then the Scarlet Brotherhood took over the whole show. I have it that the Scarlet Brotherhood took over part of the show, and the Sea Princess held on to a lot of it. But I see them as this is where you have slaving and stuff in large. They go there to find people and resources and whatever, and grab it and extract it. And I guess the countryside or the forest and inland is probably so inhospitable and difficult. So you end up at the coast because that way you can have access to the rest of the world. But that is only the modern settlements. The old ones are in there, but they are not known that much. And you have a lot of them. You have old Oldman, especially if you go in the south, you have a lot of Oldman settlements. Most of them ruined, and they're part of Oldman culture that used to be strong here. And you have the Oldman Isles, and Narisban gets on the 576 map, thanks to Rich Longitalos.
Oh, okay.
A new heraldry that he and some new settlement. Oh, there you go. There it's on that version. So there you go. Yep.
Because you helped me out with back converting 57 instead of using 598 for my campaign, using 576. But this is yours.
Yeah.
This is
Oh
yours.
yeah,
so-
this is
this is all
this
yours
is
here.
the latest version. So they
Yeah.
but and I have to state this is a work in progress.
Right.
So there might still be inconsistencies. Like I still use the terrain from my campaign map in the background on this. That's not Ispan. That's Rich the Aeolus shield for
Oh, so it's his heraldry on
design.
here for the first time.
Yep,
All right, great.
His design. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
What's the palette white hand mean? And the
white hand means like signal that we are a port here. You can come and stop here, so to speak, and hold over. And then it's the symbol of a boat, so to speak. And then gold for riches, and then blue for the ocean. I presume. Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Yep.
And as this jumps over, this appears to be forest.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. It's subtropical to tropical, so it's kind of it goes from Mediterranean to tropical. So most of it is subtropical, and then you have Mediterranean up on the plateau, high up, so to speak, and it's fairly humid. So there's a lot of forest.
Base of the Scarlet Brotherhood.
There you go. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
the Tilvanot Peninsula. So it's it's really cool. And I also have it that the Oldman Islands across that was in the last ice age when the ocean kind of was much lower. Then that was a land bridge across the two, and therefore you have like the Oldman lands were this whole area, and then when the oceans rose up again 2,000 something years ago, then this became a chain of islands, and it became two separate entities, and that's why a lot of the Oldman world kind of fell apart a little bit, because they had to revert to become seafarers all of a sudden, and they were maybe not culturally ready for it right away. So yeah.
It's as we go, and I'm going to hit this area here because according to this is actually a not a former land, right? This is the last enclave of the peoples here.
Of Olmans on
The
the
Olmans.
immediate side, yeah,
Right, on
but
the
it's
immediate side.
sketchy.
Okay.
This is really sketchy. All we have is the chapter in the Scarlet Brotherhood and
Okay.
occasional little information here and there. So it's very, as soon as we get away from the Flannies, it kind of dwindles down. The sources dwindle down to a paragraph here and there, and that's about it.
Okay.
Sometimes, and some of it is also other people who wrote kind of cool stuff on in Worth Journal and Cannon Fire and stuff like that I added into. But it's kind of interesting that the Medio is kind of a cool. You have, and it's also kind of interesting because you have the long jagged coastline, and then you have the hell furnaces in the west, so to speak. So it rises up into mountains, which means that you will get everything from cold temperate high up, so to speak, to tropical jungle in lower elevation. So you can have a lot of different climates and stuff. And you can also have all sorts of fire-based monsters and stuff up in the mountains too. So, and a lot of geological activities and weird stuff going on with volcanoes and whatnot. So that opens up for a lot of cool stuff. You can have a combination of jungle monsters, forest monsters, mountain stuff, and fire-based stuff in that will kind of have a natural home there, so to speak. So it's in that sense, it's a very interesting target-rich environment for adventures and stuff.
Definitely is, and you know, so much territory, and as you can see, with Anna's map adding down, you get...
and then we have the Pirate Isles there that is also got a big makeover this time, and that's thanks to that time, because the Pirate Isles are south of the Darlene map, but that in the gazetteer, that is this tiny little map that shows the
Mike's map
latitudes
had
of the world.
Didn't Mike's map have
exactly. And Mike Maps he took that from that. I forgot. I overlooked that little map originally when I did it back 15 years ago. And then Mike, you did a map like 10 years ago or something. And so now I've actually added it from that little gazetteer map that Mike was the smart first one to really see.
Now, isn't Scuttle Cove supposed to be here somewhere?
Oh yes, it's a little island. It's in there, but I haven't named it yet, so I need to look at it again. So I might need to rework it a little bit. It's on my it's on my list and to-do list. So this and this is so typical. I thought it would not be that much once I had Hipona Land roughly done, and when you start showing it to people, then I get lots of it. I spend a week just fixing the parts of the Adri and stuff, because there's so much stuff. And I started reading Saga of the Old City, and I read like half a chapter, and I got 2 heraldry and 10 settlements, and God knows what more I found. So it's like, there's so much stuff to found. So to
excellent.
Find. Yep.
And then,
but we don't have a name for the big pirate isle, so
we don't.
Maybe we just call it Big Isle or whatever. I don't know. So we know it's the Pirate Isles. That's about it. We don't have any. I don't have any more information that I know of. And we have that little scuttle thing from the
multiple adventures. We have it.
We have
the house horror is in Scuttle Cove, if I recall.
Okay.
You know, the one with the murderous Wanti that James Jacobs made, and a lot of stuff from Savage Tide is here.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's what I listed. Yeah. But the problem is that the island is only a few miles across. So the island is like 4 pixels in size on this one. So I just have to make sure that there is a speck of island in the right spot. That's basically so there might be a little bit of an edit on the terrain file, but from what I remember, the island is like 5-10 square miles, and that's like 10 pixels.
Could be 2 islands someday.
Yeah.
Then we have this big jungle area.
Yeah, the Isle of Dread. That was a lot of fun to do. And
there he is, Gary.
Yeah, hi Gary. Yeah. And it's this volcano is kind of interesting. And
what's the name of the forest?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Hang on a second. I don't know in my.
Doesn't it have a name?
I think it has. Hang on a second here. We need to go in. I need to find the Isle of Dread map.
Yeah.
boo-boo-boo.
Gary's done a lot of work in this area and has that
Yep.
publication supplement for it.
I love Dread. Here we go.
Or is it just? It's not the Dreadwood.
I'm not sure. The adventures listed. Let's see here what we got. Here we have
It
the
might
big
not
map.
have a name. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's the interesting thing is that the map is more a listing of the locations, not
Yeah.
names,
So
geographical
there's no
names.
name for the.
Yeah, you
forest.
have like the Lost Citadel. You have the Ember Lake is the top left there, so it needs to. And then you have a Tanaklan, the Manturu. That's the central volcano,
Mhm.
and then we
So
have
if
the
players beat the module, they can name the forest after themselves.
yeah.
Good
and,
one.
and we we don't have
It's not
no,
jungle, it's forest.
Oh, it's jungle.
It's
It's
jungle?
it's
Okay.
almost smack damp on the equator, so it's
Okay.
definitely a jungle. So yeah, it's in as close to the equator you can come almost. It's almost dead center on that volcano is almost perfectly on the
Grendel
equator.
Skull wants to know where you got the digital map.
Yeah, where are your maps available, Anna? I mean, I have
Mhm.
Anna's Patreon.
Oh,
linked.
hang on a second. I can post it again.
Yeah,
So hang on
yeah,
a second here. So
'cause-
so I can post the hang on a second. Here is the
Anna's gonna repost them for you.
yeah. And
And
here
welcome.
we have the easy zoom. You can just open it in the
The
browser
easy zoom
and
is
zoom
fun
around.
to follow along with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the easiest one. So there you
But
go.
it's not downloadable off Easy Zoom, correct?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is? Okay.
maybe not this one, but
Yeah.
normally that's the other trick. We can talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
But I can hang on a second. I have the
Remember, Anna's doing a major update and that's been planned for a long time, and we haven't even gotten to the best part, which is to the right of this. So this is a huge expansion onto the original Greyhawk map, which is if you see here on mine, as you can see, this is the original size.
you
of the
should
Greyhawk
be
map.
able to go to
Okay.
this post on Patreon, and you should go to my Patreon and find the latest
Yeah,
post.
but you need to be a
or
Patreon
go to
member
that one.
to use that
No,
one.
no, it's open to everybody.
that
that
one's
post
open,
is
okay.
open to everybody. So yeah,
Okay.
so you can download it. And there's a JPEG. I can post a link to the
There you
JPEG version of this too.
Well, good,
If you-
good, Gary. The nice update to that, to the Pirate Isles. So Gary's got
There you
a
go.
Pirate Isle
Yep.
update coming, which is great.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
Yeah, that's what
Yep.
you just said. That's really cool. Hopefully in the Earth
Okay,
Journal.
then if I can get a chance to get the names early, so we can see if
Yep.
we can get them.
So there you
I
go,
can
everyone.
nail it down.
There's
Yep.
your preview to this. Remember, it's not
Yep.
completely finalized, but yeah. So the
No,
Isle of Dread.
it's a couple of more weeks to work on
Yeah.
this. So yeah. But
then-
Isle of Dread is there, and then but the interesting thing, the names on that map is more like the Lizard Folk Lair, the Temple of the Jaguar. It's set like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you need to add Farshore because it's over here somewhere. Farshore,
Okay, yeah.
because that is that's a published source place. It's either on this
Mhm.
island here, Gary, or it's here.
Well, that
One of those
island
two.
there in the middle is my creation.
Oh,
I
okay.
just
So it's
felt
I think
that it
Farshore is
needed it.
here. If I recall,
so
it's here.
so yeah.
Yeah. So, well, Grendel, you're in the right place, man. I'm a 42-year campaign, so welcome to the community. So please hang out and follow and join us as we continue to go over multiple future things with in the world of our wonderful world of Greyhawk. Thank you so very much. Yeah, this is an up-to-date 576 map. It's in works though for Monoland, and here it is.
Yep.
As we see that, man, look at the size of this. It's just huge. So, and I think it cuts off right about at this lake here, Anna, or is it up a
Just
little north?
of it, just north
Just
of the
north.
lake.
So the
Yeah, that's
original.
where
Yeah, go ahead, Anna. I'm sorry.
Oh, the Darlene map cuts off just at the very northern tip of Hepmona land, and I made my map. If you go down
Okay.
to that central lake there, it's kind of. Oh, look at that.
Oh, so Farshore is near the Isle of Dread. Okay. So, Gary, you said it's an island, a small isle near the Isle of Dread. So you may need to. If it's you might have to
I
put
need
it on
to
one of
put that in.
these.
Okay,
Maybe it's one of these right here, or one of
Oh.
So we'll have to figure out where it is on the map here and add it. All right. So a lot of this is from the Scarlet Brotherhood resource, I'm assuming.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, almost like 95%.
Yeah, like I did not know till I read recently that the northern part of Hepmonaland, the jungle, which we see on the Darlene map, is the Centeo jungle.
Okay.
Yep.
So it was named.
Yeah, and I think it was named on the original map and that disappeared. So I need to put that in. Yeah.
It's on the Scarlet Brothers.
So right here,
Yep.
right in this area here, you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yep.
the northern part that
Okay.
we're familiar with.
All right, very cool. Centeo with a C.
With a
Yep.
C.
Okay,
Mhm.
excellent.
And
Hey, darling.
this is the book says that it's named after an Olmen goddess of growth.
Oh,
And I
Oh,
cannot
nice.
find any other reference to this Olmen goddess. Apparently named Centeo.
yeah. It's then we need to add that because it's kind of interesting. A lot of these, someone writes that and then no one else follows up and it gets forgotten and just
Yeah.
mentioned in that little place. So
That's Sean Reynolds. He knows his deities. His deity lore.
Yeah, unfortunately, I asked him to come back on, and well, maybe I'll have him come on himself. Maybe that'll work. So we can talk about some more detail here. That may be a good idea. Yeah, we got a lot of extensions here that Anna's worked hard on. So Anna, you just direct me, and I'll go to wherever you want on this map.
well, we'll see.
Monoland.
Monoland has a couple of interesting forests. That was kind of a cartography conundrum, and then they are down south. There are two, especially one in the southwest. There is a little forest in the middle of the desert. And it's kind of interesting because the person who did the map of it.
Oh, here, the Taro?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow, look at that.
They had no clue, so to speak. So they just made it. So there's two forests. You have the Adaro in the west there, and east of it is one called the Tabo Forest. And then east of that, all of a sudden you have the Llano Desert. So all of a sudden there are two forests that are in the middle of the desert. And it's in adventures and modules, it's kind of cool. I know that adventure makers and module writers, they just want cool stuff everywhere. So they're just like, it's a forest here, it's a lake there, it's a mountain here, and because it's cool for the story. But if you want to make it into believable countryside and landscape, it presents a lot of issues. So what I did was that I redraw the rivers. So both the Tabo and especially the Adaro on the
waterways
west,
going through them.
Exactly. They're actually they get their water from the mountains and it drains into, and they are basically bowls that fills up with water from the mountains, and that's how the forests are created. And it's a bit basically like they're in the tropics. So if you just add water, the area is normally very dry. But when you add water and standing water, then it's like the Okavango in southern Africa. It's in the middle of a desert, but since there's rainwater coming from other parts of Africa, parts of the year or almost all of the year, then Okavango is a partial forest, so to speak. It has a rain period and a dry period. But since the Adaro has its rivers coming from the tropical jungles, meaning they get water all year round in there. So and that's why there is a place down there that I have forgotten. I haven't added it yet. Exactly, yeah. And I realized I forgot to add it on the version of the map I'm looking at.
No, it's right here on this one.
Yep.
So Carlos?
Hey, Carlos. Some great stuff here, Carlos.
Yep. So that and the Tabo is basically the same idea, and if they are both have smaller rivers that end up in the ocean, and that's another thing, I need to edit the river that flows out. But you have the Lake Kili east of the Tabo forest there, and that meaning you have agricultural area and forests in the middle of a desert for that reason.
It's awesome. So
well, thank you, Koma. Yep.
You have some hills down here, and
that's and that is one of these kind of quirks that ends up in modules. It's not, they are mentioned to some degree on the mountain. They are further west on the map, but in the text it states that the hang on a second, I need to that city that is on the east of that forest along the coast. Go east. There you go. Yeah, Biombo. Yeah, Biombo is in the foothills of the volcanoes and stuff. So I
Oh.
moved the mountain slightly to the east, just a little bit,
Mhm.
not too much, and then boosted them
For
up and added a
volcanoes.
bunch of 3 big volcanoes there because the
Oh, cool.
volcanoes are mentioned in the text sources. And this is one of these things that I don't take the maps literally. Meaning
Right,
now
right.
we have a tradition, a really cool way now that people are restoring the Darlene map and they are measuring it by the minuscule little
Yeah, which is
decimal and
crazy.
stuff like that. And that's one really cool approach, but that's not the approach I do. I try to take all the sources into account and then try to mix them together. That's why my maps rarely are not super accurate with the published maps, because I try to put in text from a disparate number of sources and stuff. But the volcano source is in the Scarlet Brotherhood, so it's in the text but not on the map. So the map was kind of probably done before the text was written, or it's just an art order and no one gave the poor cartographer all the text to read.
Where the Grendel's
Between
skull.
the two forests.
So we have a Grendel's Wolf Lair now and a Grendel's skull, which is awesome. As far as where you put the Cabrevro Plains.
Oh,
Between the
it's
two forests.
further north. You have big text going across there. You can read it. Yeah. No, you up. No. There you go.
It
It's in the
looks
middle of-
like desert.
you
there
but
it
it's
is.
the middle
Yep.
of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, Carlos has a good mention. Tears of Forever Stain. I need to look into Tears of Forever Stain.
Ooh.
Yeah,
If I
Carl-
don't have it, I'm going to buy a PDF of it and see. So yep.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's the fundraiser, Cheetah fundraiser module. Carlos, feel free to link. You know what? It would be self-aggrandizing. Well, it's for both of us. If I link the hools, which will go right to it'll go right to all of your announcements here. So there we go. All right. So link on that, and you'll go to all the modules. But my
Yep.
hools module with.
Thank you, Carlos,
so,
for
yeah,
pointing that out.
yeah.
I'm putting this in my map notes so I can
Yeah, very cool.
get it in if
So there you go.
future updates here.
No problem.
Yep. Mhm.
Awesome.
So
So
and there's
keep
there's a
going.
little bit of a forest that is not named, as near the Eno Hills at the very southern tip of on the volcano there. You have
Oh, down
it's the equivalent of the Timberway forest, but in the tropics, or the Udgru, but in the tropics. You have warm.
This is
it's
actually
in-
south of the equator here, correct?
Exactly. So
Okay.
we're in the southern desert zone here, so to speak. So it's like
Okay.
it's like Australia or southern Africa in climate, but thanks to we have warm ocean currents coming in with humidity, that means that the slope up the volcano gets jungles on them, and so it's the same type of phenomena you have in the Udgru forest or the Timberway. You have it in Oregon, you have it in Scandinavia and other parts of the world where it gets lots of, or Ireland and stuff. So this is a tropical kind of one of these trade wind or rainforests that are not continuous due to placement at the equator. So it's one of these little quirks that comes with geography and ocean currents.
So,
that
Anna, go
cause-
into Cannon Fire Discord main chat. Far Shore location is marked by Gary in the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very cool. Yeah, there's a picture right there where he notes where it is. Awesome. So
Oh, perfect. Yep.
awesome. Thank you, Carlos. Good to hear, man. Trying to put together the crew of so we got 4 confirmed now for There Be Dragons, the next
Perfect.
Greyhawk
Yep.
Mega
There
Stream
we go.
fundraiser.
Yep.
In 6 weeks. Awesome.
Yeah, and then we have the eastern side of Hipmona land is very that probably the oldest I can think of. The Hipmona land has
Here.
what in my kind of climate idea of how the planet works, the Hipmona land has some of the oldest, most stable jungles that have been around for millennia and millennia, so to speak. Amedio has been more kind of on and off, but Hipmona land, especially on the eastern side, has probably been rainforest for millions of years. So it's one of these kind of stable areas, and the western side too. And then the northern side, the northern tip of Hipmona land is not so much super tropical, it's more like subtropical and monsoon-like climates, more like parts of India in that way than the Congo or the Amazon. But the central on east side of the Kilo Hills in the Hipmona land are like the Amazon or the Congo jungle. It's this
Okay,
kind of
so here.
been for a long time forest that has been around steady hot climate, just smack down on the equator. So you have
Awesome.
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And plenty of area to develop.
Exactly. Meaning we have an area that is more than 50% of the Flanies that
That's
has
crazy
like 10
how
cities.
you don't even realize how large this
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
How large. So we're talking about in the Scarlet Brotherhood, the Abominations, or are they all in the north because of all the
No,
Scarlet
they're
Brotherhood breeding?
I think they're mostly in the central part.
In the central part. So in
Yes.
this
Yeah.
area?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. The central part, you have a lot of the there you have a lot of the weird one. They even have snakes on their shields and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you have plenty of the so it seems like the inland of Hepmona land is nasty, and then you have the highlands up there that are that have much less of forest, so to speak, because they're high up, so less humidity, less weather when you go high up,
Right.
and not so hot. So it's more like Mediterranean kind of prairie.
It's like
hot
Greece.
prairies.
It's like areas in
Yeah,
Greece.
exactly. You have parts of that. So yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Neat.
So it's something like that, or parts of California and stuff like that when you come inland and up a bit. So or Mexico, something like that, up in Mexico in climate. Yeah.
So note that, as you can see, what a huge addition to that map. Just look at it like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is in pixel size, it's almost twice, but it's about 50 because there's so much ocean. So the land mass have probably increased maybe 45-50%. Because I've added a little bit to the west and a little bit to the north as well. And to the east, there are a couple of islands out there. So
here's my question, and this is a technical issue, but like we take my custom edit map. Is it possible to merge them or no? Or do we got to start over from scratch?
Well, what we need to do is basically to take your edits and put them in this map.
Gosh.
So take one day and just put all the edits.
Let's do that in
That's
2023.
No, well, we can probably squeeze that in someday when I have nothing else to do.
Oh
I
my
can just
gosh.
sit. It will be like 10 hours of work just to order all the locations and just do it.
Oh.
I'm already doing it, so to speak. So yeah. And realize I have a 598 map, and that will be 3 weeks of just Illustrator editing and just update everything.
It is layered, Grendels. It is layered, and it's just it's so many layers. How many layers you got in this? 60, 70?
No, but probably about 40 or so.
40 layers.
I think. Yeah, it's every type of road, every type of settlements, every type of meaning the heraldry is like 4 different layers depending on the size.
Yeah.
And then you have the national names, province name, local names, and then all the different settlements. So probably about 40 or 40, 50 layers.
As we're winding down here, we didn't talk about the Forlorn or the Harak Forest way up here. Look like conifers as well, right?
Yeah, that's one of the hidden gems when it comes to forest is the rock forest. I love the rock forest. I have it as one of these areas where you can have some megafauna around. If you want your woolly rhinos, your kind of the mastodons or the other kind of cold megafauna and stuff. If you want your things like that, then I think that was one of the areas where they can have evaded hunting and stuff. And that's probably why you have Kelton up there, the holders of the stone fist. I have them as hunters, that they actually go up there and hunt out in the wilderness, and they hunt these kind of critters and are out there. So yeah.
Awesome.
You know, the Bernal encounter charts, or not the encounter charts, the stuff in the main book on the Bernal Forest talks about megafauna. I would assume being at the same latitude, the Rockwood.
And also it's so far away, it's kind of hidden away, it's hard to get to, which means that these animals are probably survived from that not being hunted as hard, so to speak. So
yeah, it doesn't look like that it doesn't look like either that the barbarians are hunting that out there either.
No, because the Kelton is the end of civilization. So the rock forests have no notion or not mentioned any cities, settlements, or anything. So and also in a fantasy world, the mega fauna and stuff can be probably even more beefier and nastier than in the real world. So it might not be that healthy to go hunt these
Right,
kind
and
of
it looks like
dire,
there's a pass here set off of Kelton.
yeah. Yep.
Traveler beware.
Yeah, the rock pass is mentioned up
It
in
sounds like a
some
good
source.
place to develop some of that
Yeah,
crazy
mhm.
stuff,
Yeah,
to do it.
and you have on the western there, you have the town of Bastro, and then you have Amaran up there. I
Right.
can sense that these are places that are inhabited by polar bear hunters and others who want to hunt furs and
Inuit type
and meat and
almost.
stuff. Exactly,
Yeah.
they're the
Okay.
stone fisters go up there and hunt, especially in the summers and stuff. They probably go hunt these
Nice.
animals and bring back the fur and sell them, and the ivory and tusks and God knows what.
We never talked about
dragons.
this is lands of the ever mysterious Tim adventuring now in the
Ooh.
Forlorn
Yeah.
Forest.
Exactly. There you have
Forlorn.
another one of these
Which
kind of. I love the
we will
name.
see
Both the
Saturday
rock and
morning.
the forlorn are super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and Grendel's skull have how them white dragons. Yes, I can definitely see both the Griff Mountains, the up in the Griff and the Korsks, and up in the land of black ice and stuff, being home to white dragons. Yeah. And especially if you have some nourished kind of megafauna to hunt next door, I can see it might be a haven for white dragons.
we missed this. We missed the Fell Reeve in the earlier
Yeah,
discussion too.
Yeah, we missed it earlier, and I think it's cool. And I want to see it as originally it was probably forest all the way from Vestvi across Aeolus, and we
Yeah.
haven't detailed Aeolus and Northern Horn Society much. I've just ignored it, and that's something I'm starting to detail it for my campaign and stuff. So I assume that there are some forests across there. So I don't see them as completely isolated islands. There are forests all the way over, so to speak, to some degree, and then further into 10. And so originally, I think they were part of a much bigger forest than that the Flan and others have chopped down over the years, so to speak. And
So you have you have the Defenders, the Greenkeep here. A lot of this was developed in Living Greyhawk, I'm assuming.
yeah.
The case you could probably tell us.
We have the mighty freehold with Fleischreiber.
I love this. Dora Ka.
Oh, the meat writer. It's kind of so cool. The one that writes in flesh,
Bane.
so to speak. It's kind of, I love that name, and
Eyes
it's
the Evil.
Yeah.
yes.
Where you get most of that.
Dolliver, Castle Dolliver's here.
Yeah.
So.
And Verith Mirax is a
here he
green
is.
dragon that hangs out there, and then you have the Castle Dalvier with a lich, I think, in it.
Yeah.
And so there are some nasty ones up there. There's some escaped hierarchs of the Horn Society and a bunch of other nasty ones up there. So it's kind of, and you have the Lake Akal in the middle of the Fell Reeve that is full of weird, interesting stuff.
Yeah, it looks like it doesn't even, it's out of place there almost, but I guess that's pretty neat.
I think it's, but
it's
it
like
could
a
be kind of
depression.
cool.
Yeah,
it's a depression, and it's also the start of the Arton Samai River. That is one of the mighty rivers of the Flannies too, that goes around for a couple of 1,000 miles before it comes to Nirdiv. So it's Fell Reeve is I think interesting, and also see it as one of these kind of mixed between evergreen and oak and kind of deciduous trees. It's in just that kind of cold, like mid to cold temperate, where you have like Northern Europe or northern part of the US, most northerly states, where you have all sorts of trees from evergreen to deciduous.
this is me, because I watch a lot of those, and you watch the Barbarian as well. It always reminds me of the German forests that are fighting the Romans in. Is that about what it is? Yeah,
exactly. That's
okay.
When it comes to climate and stuff, I think it's spot on there, so to speak. So it's like Central Northern European forest.
Okay.
The ones that we don't have many of in the real world anymore. There are a few in Poland. There's little sprinkles of it still left in Germany and stuff. So there are very few of these forests left in the real world. But in Roman times and earlier, they were huge, so to speak, and the old Celts and the others lived in these used forests back in the day.
We didn't talk about
Now,
the tangles either.
yeah, the tangles is to me is a bit of an anomaly because the climate seems to be drier, and so I have it, and it's also one that is described as this kind of weird thing that even if you chop it down and burn, it will come back again almost immediately. And in Ayu's Evil, so it's one of these things that the Ayusian priest is trying to tame or to conquer and have a hard time. So it's a bit like the sus or something. It has some weird stuff to it. The Fellweave seems to be more of a normal forest, and the Tangle seems to be kind of weird. It's a bit like the Twisted Thickets. It's another one of these kind of weird ones that seems to be more not there for merely natural reasons, but a lot of more fantastic reasons as
Casey just said in chat that they nuked it in Living Greyhawk.
There you go. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Of course.
But we know Living Greyhawk, they nuked a lot of things, literally, I think. So yeah.
But remember, this is a 576 map as well, so I don't have I have some of it on here, but not all. And I know we went through all the other locations on here wise, and just want to, we wanted to really
and we have one. We need to mention one more, and that's that another one with both a wonderful name and a central part of the Flanies history, and that's the Bramblewood Forest,
right?
In Kit.
Yep.
That is another one that is kind of really
true. We did miss Bramblewood.
Yeah, so I both love the name Bramblewood Forest, and it's also that kind of divides between the Bacloonish world and the Flan Oridian modern Flan worlds, or the Flanese world, so to speak. So.
Yeah, so I don't know too much about it, about this, but this is the gateway to the Bacloonish lands from the Sheldomar. Thornwards and Bissell, right? And then it moves through. It's
been fought over, and it's a city. It's a road called the Irafa Road that runs through it. That the Kedites, for the most part, have controlled. It used to be the Bissellite that controlled the first bit, but after the war, when they fought over Thornward, the Kedites got the whole of that side, and the Bissell Valuna got the southern side.
We'll find out a lot more next Wednesday as we go to Living Greyhawk Bissell.
Very true.
We're going to find out. So, some of the things that happened during that that era. So,
it's a casualty. Yes, we're going to get Bandit Kingdom info. Pick up a copy of I Use the Evil.
Or this. I haven't done this in a while. Dun 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 dun.
Oh yes, there we go.
That won't, while it is a awesome resource, I don't know if that will help him.
Well, I know. I hadn't done that in a while, so it felt.
But yeah. It is a good historical.
Eyes of Evil's the best place to go with for campaign information. So of course, man, of course, Casey. So we went over a lot as I was flipping between maps here, and
I'm like can't keep up with you two. I'm still thinking about the Bandit Kingdom. You're somewhere else. I don't know.
We have one we didn't mention, and we maybe should, because it's one of the big ones, and that's a Gamboge.
Yeah, we didn't mention the Gamboge.
We should just mention it.
Yeah, because Valmoku will make him. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and there's some elven connections, and seems to be one of the more civilized forests, but just like Grandwood. It doesn't have that many horror stories.
Well, there is a dragon in here.
Yeah,
look at
there's
that
a
name.
dragon.
Oh my gosh. Shashrakan Nakin Makamasha.
It's not my name. It's not my name. It's I forgot where it came from. But and have Inanli, we have some elves living in it, and the Gord was going through parts of it, I think, on his journey south towards the Inspa and stuff. They were in Mid Meadow, and then they continued south and I think they were in Wontham too. I think so. They passed next or almost past the Gamboge. Yeah, I forgot.
It's a large forest.
Oh yeah, it's large. It's one of the big ones. So
you got the Flinty Hills right here of all the wonderful gnomes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say 2 fun facts about the Gamboge Forest from the published source. One, there's a lot of demi-humans in there. it's not, the forest is not claimed by any kingdom, one kingdom. And there's a strong alliance between the Flinty Hills, which I think Anne was about to say. And they were talking about creating their own demi-human kingdom out of
And is
that.
this from the Marklands?
This is from Living Gazetteer, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that one is
The Gazetteer, not the
yeah.
journal. So,
No.
okay.
Now, the other fun
Oh,
thing is in
thank
the
you.
encounter charts,
There you go, Gary. Gary with another
In the-
correction.
Yeah, I
in
see
the
that. Thank you.
old box set encounter charts,
In the Gamboge.
in the Gambos, 1%, and I haven't seen this anywhere else, 1% chance dwarves.
Huh. Well, that's probably because they're
Dwarves,
coming from,
Gambos.
probably coming
coming
off the
from-
Flinty. There's probably dwarves in the
Yeah.
Flinty, not just gnomes, right?
But I mean, there's plenty of mountains next to the other
Yeah.
course as well.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
Nice.
the dwarves went down to the Gambos, and I think it's because they're such a strong demi-human.
This is a 576 map, and but it doesn't, because we do all time errors here. So this is my map, which is different than
Oh, okay.
the shield lands are different everywhere. This is it's the most diametrically different area, as you can see. This is my shield lands. Anna's shield lands is completely different, and there's a lot of different shield land changes here. In the discussion for tonight with talking about forests and other things, we will but we will get there. I mean, in 2022, normally what we do at the beginning of every year is we go over and we talk about areas of campaign. I guarantee you in a Gabbin, I'll get to my shield lands. Anna and I will talk about our shield lands because Anna's campaign's going on in the shield lands right now.
Yep.
So we will be definitely going in depth on that in a future Gabbin. Trust me on that. I haven't been venturing the shield lands for about 9 months, so we gotta get back to that. But and the maps, Anna's map is like gold. So if you don't have it, you need to get it, especially with all these additions here. And like I said, Anna's got a lot of finalizations to do in this area.
Oh yeah, it's like 90% done, but
Yeah.
there's still and I got like 20 new things to do on this show now. So thank you everyone who
Yeah,
stuff out. So that's awesome.
But Anna, thank you for doing this. I mean, what a fantastic change out in addition and add to this. It's awesome. It just completes the adventuring area of published source that we know. And eventually, I'm assuming at one point when Carlos releases Fireland, we're going to have to expand it this
Then
way.
we have to make
Carl-
an expansion that way.
So Carlos, whenever your
definitely.
Fireland's ready to rock and roll out, I know it's coming soon. Anna can add to it. You may want to collaborate now so that so it can be maybe added in the near future. So anyone have any questions about the map before we do some shout outs and then do the 2 giveaways? And thank you for the hype train. So we got the Scarlet Brotherhood. So we're adding this into the giveaways tonight because of the hype train, by our friend Sean Reynolds. So you get a lot of that discussion in Help Monoland, and the maps in Help Monoland were in here too. So the originals are in this as well. So always, absolutely. Why is the Isle of Raka, formerly Nippon, ghosted? Where is that, Gary?
It's in the south.
Don't get distracted by Gary.
Oh, so he's doing something crazy. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's in the west there. I put parchment over the
She's got
areas.
her
This
top of it.
over here?
Yeah, it's because I didn't have time to develop it. I had no data and nothing on it, so I just decided to kind of show that there are supposed to be land there by using. And if you zoom in, you can see there is a darker. You can see the map through on the parchment, so to speak. So you can see the coastline in there. So I just pointed it out, like put the parchment over. That was just a way, because I needed to have the credits and the legend somewhere.
I think it's a good
and
idea.
I thought, okay,
We got enough.
use
I mean,
this.
who's using that area
So,
of the map
so
now?
I didn't have we have barely, some call it Nippon, and you have Zindia and all stuff that I don't like. So, but I like the geography, but I
leave
don't
it
like
there.
the politics.
See, that's why I cut my map off the Isle of Dread.
Yep.
Sorry,
So I basically did the same thing. I need to dwell on this for a couple of more years before I can delve into that part. So yeah.
Well, you put the full Het Monoland on there.
So-
So.
Yeah. But Het Monoland, we have some published sources for. So it's a
Mhm.
little bit more, I'm not just winging it by myself, but I will definitely be able to do more Hawk in the future. And what my approach for the rest of the planet will be to do the terrain and leave it at that. That's my approach going forward for the most part.
Let's answer Lando's general question.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. A lot of this stuff got added in Living Greyhawk, but it was there in 576.
That's
They
my
don't just
approach.
magically appear.
Exactly, meaning a city that was like
Yeah.
Elhester is a perfect example that I
Yeah.
use. Elhester was described by, it was added by Paizo team when they took over Greyhawk.
Right.
And it's a big city, and I just assumed that it existed prior to 576. It was already there at 576 because it's a big city, and 10 years later, it's described as have been there for a long time. And the
Right.
same thing in Living Greyhawk. So things that logically should have been there in 576, even if it's not mentioned in any of the original sources, I added in, so to speak. That's my approach, to be inclusive rather than exclusive.
Verbalbank area, Lando, has the dubious distinction of being the one
Yeah.
most overdone area in
Yeah.
all the map.
And I filtered so much
Yeah.
stuff away that I haven't done,
Yeah.
and I will probably maybe filter it a little
Some
bit
more of
too.
this probably should go. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, but it's now it's been on the map for 20 years, so
Right.
it's kind of, yeah, and it's also the problem of being added as it went, because I got bits and pieces now and then without having all of the stories, and it's also the earliest areas I did back when I barely knew what I was doing. So it was a hobby project that I barely had much knowledge of what I was doing at all.
But look at it this way. If you're on that special Patreon Anna has, you get custom edits on the map.
But
Right.
that's one of the things that services. I've already had 3 people that picked up, so the 5
Really?
slots might be gone. Yes, I have 3
Wow,
people
that's
that,
so
that
awesome.
said that they want to have it. Yeah, so I might, if I get 5 people, I might have to add a few more slots, but there would not be more than 10 to begin with, because I don't want to
I'd stick with 5
put up
this
more
year
than
and
10
just make
days.
sure.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't
That's
overwork
awesome.
myself, so to speak. So yeah,
That
but
is
that
very,
would be
very cool.
fantastic. So yeah.
Great. And fantastic. Great question there, Lando. But just note that, you know, so.
Yep.
And by the way, the only important area of the map is right here. So I'm just kidding.
Mm.
Look at all
Yeah,
that
it's
additional stuff that just got recently
Yep.
added. So, you know, we got some very neat things here. Great questions. And look at that. We're right at the time coming up with Hey, Fuzz, you won yours, man. You got yours in that great giveaway. So that was awesome.
Thank you, Uncle Fuss. I'll need it.
So Grendel's, it's a convoluted story. It was during the Paizo era. It's a real mess. We've had there's a lot of Living Greyhawk discussions that we did on some previous legends and lores, going through all what happened. It's just it really is still a mess to this day as far as who owns what and ventures and published and they didn't pay them. It just
That book
goes
could
on.
have been bigger.
Yeah. Yep. So awesome. This was a great kickoff to 2022, I think.
Woo.
Yeah, hopefully we go back here. Yeah, how much time we got? Days on that discussion. So before we do the 2 giveaways and we figure out who to raid into, let's discuss what's going on in our little world here. Mike, what's going on with you?
Well, like they were talking about in chat, I'm currently playing one of Rich's games, and he's adapted one of Carlos's adventures, and we're having a fun time stumbling around in the dark. You just got to be there, but we're having a really good time with it.
Cool.
Otherwise, let's see. I am definitely formulating a plan for Gary Con. I'd like to bring a side game prepared just in case someone like Carlos or Jay or Anna has some free time. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
That
We'll
was
see how that
mega
goes.
teasing here.
I
Wow.
brought it up before, but it's just one of those things that it's 3 months away. We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Cool.
Other than that,
Yeah. Gary
to
Con's
go.
on its way too. Can't wait. So lots of other things, and we got so much.
Sign me up for that.
Sign me up.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Another awesome discussion, Mike. Thanks a lot.
It might be a late night game. I'm staying attached to the convention, so anyone who's
Oh,
attached
okay.
to the convention, maybe we can.
Just
Pull an
game overnight
all-nighter.
and then just go out
Yeah.
and do convention the next day. Oh god.
So
we'll see how
I
it
mean,
goes.
like I know Carlos does a lot of DMing there, so we got to find out when he's
Mhm.
not. I know his games run late
Yeah.
night.
Like
We
I
got to
said,
figure
this would
something
be
out. But
definitely an
I'm there
after
from
hours.
oh, here comes a cat invasion. I'm there from Wednesday night to Monday morning. The whole, so I'm there the entire weekend, and I'm only DMing Thursday morning, and then we got our show and the fantasy mapping show, and that's it. And then I'm so we
Yeah.
got a lot of time.
I'm only staying 2 nights.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, Carlos, we got to figure that out. We all got to hang out and just play. Just play somewhere. We got to do it, all of us, and maybe we can get Alyssa Faden and hop in too.
Well, Carlos, you
Yeah.
don't have to cancel. For
Gary
me.
Con, GM, Gary Con, the con of cons
In Lake Geneva.
in Lake
Yep.
Geneva. Mike and I are right in the Grand Geneva.
Yeah.
Woohoo! First
But,
time ever.
Mhm.
Yes.
See, you got
Carlos and I are. I'm not the.
Yeah.
Carlos and I got platinum badges too. So
I
we
was
get
just
to
going
go
to say
all the
you.
Bling,
Yeah,
bling.
big
all
wig
set.
events.
Yep.
So I cannot wait. I'm so excited about it.
Gary Con up in Lake Geneva.
Jake
That's
Geneva,
what
the
it is.
con to celebrate Gary Gygax. So. And by the way, if
March.
you really want to know, Luke, the son who runs Gary Con, Luke will be here next Saturday night with that playing with Anna and Ed Greenwood. So we'll talk about that in a minute, though. So there is a virtual part. GM, there is a virtual part as well. So, and I know they're looking for some DMs. So I can always
No
hook
offense,
you
but
up.
knock on wood, I hope it's not all virtual.
Smelf will be there.
Exactly.
For
then,
them.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just hope
please.
that Omicron might
Yeah.
fade away before Gary comes. Let's hope for that. And
They can. I got a meeting coming up with Zarathon and Jimmy Duffy and Matt Everhart that we will get together and put words out for Gary Con to DMs who want to do they know they still want virtual games. So yeah, we will take care of that.
We cross our fingers and hope
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
Omicron will fade off before March. So yeah. Mhm.
So Anna, what's going on?
Well, yeah. Now you know that you got and told me a lot. So I'm working on the first now the 576 map, the big one with Mona Land included and all that, so to speak. That will probably be another, I would say, 2 weeks. Hopefully 2 weeks we can have like a release candidate. That will probably be 2. There's a new preview version coming out tomorrow in 2 days, I think, with a lot of change in Adri. There will be a Zavoda River on it. There will be a Pale River on it, and a bunch of probably about 50 or so add-ons and stuff. And so to honor Jason Saboda, I named one of the tributaries of a named major river, so you can look at the map and see if you can find it. And
Yes.
I think it's an excellent river
awesome.
because there are some awesome cities and stuff that are really worthy of Jason, so to speak, along it. So it's kind of cool. It's one of the rivers that I added to the map because it's more detailed than the Dardine map, and therefore you have slightly smaller rivers but it's still a fairly big river. It's one of the biggest that is not named, so to speak, already, that I added. So it's really cool. And then I added another river called the Pale River that runs through Pale. That is kind of cool too, because I thought that the Pale should have a Pale River, because one of the rivers that were not named in the Pale, I named it the Pale River just for the hell of it. And there's a whole bunch of other work that needs to be done, and you can see there were bits and pieces missing and stuff, and I still have a list of over 100 stuff, and you added about 20 or more stuff that needs to be done. Thankfully, a few of them are just typos and stuff, so it's good. So thank you everyone who helps me do this. I got over 300 patrons, and it's thanks to you guys I can sit and do this full time now, and we can have this. So yeah,
Thanks so. Yeah, and
It's
the great
coming.
thing is that as the momentum, Anna, for 2021 is moving I think we're really 2022 is just going to be monster. Just from the feel I get, everyone is so excited, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm so hopeful that Gary Con in person happens no matter what.
Yeah, me,
You know,
I hope so
so,
too. Yep.
yeah.
Yep, because we need a convention soon.
I just
Yeah.
want to hang out with you two and you two here and Carlos and
Yeah,
have our show
yeah,
live there. Have Legends
yeah,
of Lore live
yeah,
at Gary
exactly.
Con. So
Yep,
yeah, and have a lot of other wonderful
Yep.
things going on. So
Right.
and I'm also working on a little bit on my campaign prep, and
well, in
I'm also
person, I should
gearing
say,
up
Mike.
for the other big there's two big projects this year. One is that I'm going to put all this map data in GIS. It's all going to be digitized. That's going to start this summer. But before then, I need to prep for my big campaign in England in the fall, and that's going to be my big Shieldlands campaign. So I'm going to map roughly half or 2/3 of the Shieldlands at porta potty scale. Trademark porta potty scale. So yeah, so that is gearing up in the background, so to speak, and I'm doing a lot of the ideas and stuff for it that I'm using for my own Shieldlands campaign right now, and I'm inventing locations, backstories, and NPCs and stuff like that. So I'm gearing up. So probably around after GaryCon, then the 576 map will be done, the 598 map, and the atlases are hopefully done by GaryCon in mid-March. And that's when I can release them all, and then I'll hunker down in my Shieldlands for probably 5 months or something like that, just mapping it and doing it and writing up the stories, backstories. And a lot of that material will trickle out to my patrons. And then after I've been to England and we've run the adventure for D&D in a castle, I will try and write it up and release it in PDF forms and stuff like that. Parts of it might also end up in a formal module. We'll see, because I have a couple of ideas for a formal module that might come out next year. So from it, so I will hold some of the locations for future use, and there's heraldry and stuff like that too. So there will be this summer, it will be a more of, instead of the big Flanese maps and stuff, you will be detailed stuff. There will be settlement backstories, and people who read my Aldit and Bogford and a little bit about the Dragonhide caves and stuff, they can see what they're in for, so to speak. I have a whole bunch of other locations. I have Critwall and Axport and stuff lined up to be developed. So yeah.
lots of great stuff coming.
Yep. So, and then we have other stuff too that Jay will talk about soon.
Yes. You know what? I forgot to add that in. All right, I'll do that one first. So
Yep.
because I already put the order up for all these banners, and I don't want to undo it. So we'll go there first. The Fantasy Mapping Show this month, 2022, plans an AMA. All right, so that'll be on Friday, January 21st, 8 p.m. With myself, Alyssa Faden, and Anna Meyer. And note that is a 5-stream week. That's my only one. The rest are 4, which is, so it's going to be a monster busy month here. But
Yep.
looking forward to that discussion, what's going on with everyone, as far as what is coming for 2022.
And then we will dive into more technical side of things too in the Fantasy Mapping Show. So we will talk about more pixel sizes and tools that we use and consideration on the cartography technical side. Not because that's not what we talk about here on Legends and Lore much, and not on on Gabbin, but in Fantasy Mapping Show, that will be more of the technical side of the same projects that just mentioned and stuff. So, and come and also take the chance to ask us anything cartography wise, whatever you feel like. And we keep the right to not answer, but I think we will answer almost everything. And Alyssa is a very brave person, so we will have fun.
Definitely a good one to start off 2022 for the Fantasy Mapping Show. So tomorrow night, let's go in. This is kind of in chronological order. I'll go pretty quick through this. Tomorrow night, Adventure 938, called Logistics and Supply. I got a little surprised, and I'm not going to give it away this week on where this adventure is going. And if some of you may be astute to guess, but we'll see. This is out. This is in the Principality. You'll look out near Outpost 2, part of my campaign, where the swamps are incurring into the territory. As you can see here on the map, here's Outpost 2, and you have this area of the Jewel River, which is and so the roadways are being eliminated for some reason, and they have to create a ferry system to get supplies there. Yeah, see, I'm getting so this is, as you can see, when we got this wonderful. I mean, look at this. This is all 3D print. Some really unbelievably cool. That's a Reaper Bones 5 trebuchet, all painted up by Bill the Master Crafter, and the ferry system, and a lot of stuff by Infinite Dimensions Games in this setup. So we got some really neat terrain that'll be being played tomorrow evening. As you can see, there we go on the table. In that area. So thank you. And that'll be tomorrow night. That'll be multi-parter, probably 2 weeks. It may go 3, but I'm not sure. But tomorrow night's Reaper Miniatures giveaways for our sponsor tomorrow night. Then Saturday morning, a special event. The ever mysterious Tim DMs his next Underdog adventure, Wilderness of Pain 2. You got Antiquitous, you got Gaetano, you got Canadian Ancient Gamer playing, you got John from Blue Box playing. You have a whole bunch of fun people playing in this game. And this will be Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. We start this Saturday, January 8th. Okay. So, going to be an awesome game. This is the lower level Barbarians, and, Casey too. I'm sorry, Casey. So it's going to be Mike Disney as well. It's going to be a fun group. Plenty of people for him to kill. So, that's awesome, Carlos. Happy birthday too, man. What are you, 29? I'm just kidding, man. I know we're all getting up there. So, how does the song go? We're all going to die. But that's a good thing, Alex. Your character can die two times in 2 adventures because your last character got killed by a player character. So, Prometheus too. Dwayne's in it too. Wow, what a group! All right, so Sunday, Anna and I, we're going to finally get to the Druid discussion, especially Druids and Avengers. Mm-hmm. My special classes. So I'm going to I'm going to talk about them. Anna will talk about hers. Maybe we'll talk about the Dark Druids as well. Mm-hmm. Talk about how I use them in my campaign. A lot of this is Vespi Forest based with the specialty Druids. We'll go over all that. Have fun with that. Maybe we'll have another guest on. We'll see on that, but that'll be Sunday night. Our first, I guess, our second gathering of the new year. We did the year in review last week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
but the first proper one for the new year, so to speak. So
so we got it. As far as talking about how I took specialty priests from 2nd edition, there should be druids that are specialty druids as well, and we have 4 classes of those. We'll talk about them on Sunday. All right, and then in future times, next week, Legends and Lore Living Greyhawk Bissell. Casey will be joining us, and we'll talk about Bissell. We got our first Living Greyhawk discussion of the year. So these Bissell were New Englanders, and have not had that discussion yet. So cool, M5. Well, this will give you an idea of flavoring up your druids, just like specialty priests do. You can convert back. All mine are back converted to 1st edition. So yeah, that'll be next Wednesday. Then the biggest. I don't want to overhype myself and scare myself, but last time we had Ed Greenwood and Eric Mona in this game. Now I got Ed Greenwood and Luke Gygax playing together next Saturday, along with Anna, Tony Winslow Brill, Eric Boyd, the father of the specialty priest, and Eric Mengi, who you all know, all in this group.
Wow.
Eric
Boyd, Eric Mengi,
oh my gosh,
and Tony and are so awesome as well. So and Luke and Ed are fantastic, and Eric Mona, oof.
In the group 2 drink minimum.
Wow.
I have a lot of new. 2 drink minimum, yes. And remember, Ed Greenwood is playing a Greyhawk mage in Greyhawk. So just let your head sink in on that. It's so awesome. No, I've already DM'd for Ed twice. So, but Ed and Luke together, we'll see. Luke plays. His nickname is Smelf. His real name's Eleator, the son of Melf, and he's played him 2 times already, both on fundraisers, and so this will be the first time that Eleator plays in a non-fundraiser event. I'm excited about this. Some unbelievable terrains coming from Bill as well. Really making some really nice terrain. Yeah, it's coming. Really some great stuff. And the name of the adventure is The Eyes Have It, so you can take whatever you want into that. But these characters are 5th level, so I can't go too hard on them. Down the road, so every Saturday there's something going on. I don't have a banner for this next one, but we have the crafters. So we got Mike Disney, Taryn, Christine Van Patten and her husband, Bill and Master Crafter, and the vice president of my mini factory playing in a game on the 22nd in the morning. That's the week after this. I'm still finalizing the details on that. That's why I don't have a banner for it. So
Awesome.
that's coming. So I didn't say no beholders, Arg. I just said I can't make it too nasty. And then the last thing we talk about in the month, this is in addition to all the other regular shows, is the Slav Squad is back Saturday, January 29th. The Mandy, Little Bones, Darling Creep Show, MJ Russell, Myriad, Kayla, Time Lord's wife, finally going to make one, and Josh Zarathon in this group. I haven't named this adventure yet, so we got that coming up, and they're a fun group to DM for. Yes, right, darling. I have so much fun DMing for you. I cannot wait for that. That's Saturday evening as well, on the 29th. That'll finish up the month, and what a month it is. Like I said, normally I do 3 streams a week. I got 4 streams a week, except for one where I have 5. So busy. First real full month of partnership. I'm going to rock and roll with it. So that's what's going on in the little world here. Sorry it took so long. I apologize, but wanted to go over all the great stuff you got looking forward to. And just know tomorrow night will be a fun game, in the campaign with some really nice terrain, and you'll see if someone figures out where it's going to go. So let's do the 2 giveaways. Okay. Get that going. And then I think we're going to raid into Guild Superior, who's doing Ghost of Saltmarsh. So when we raid in, please, I got the new emote just for raiding. The combination you want to go is the Lord Gazumba and then the raid ship, the Viking raid ship. It does say raid on the sail, but there you go. It's an animated new emote I put in there just so we got something cool. But let's when we hit the raid in. But here we go. So you get your first pick. You get your choice of these 2 and these 2, right? So you got Scarlet Brotherhood of Treasures, and then the second one will be Crucible of Freya and Tomb of the Lizard King, and then the second winner will get the 2 that are left. All right. Last call, closing it out. Last call, exclamation drawing. All right. Yeah, there you got it, Prometheus. It's great to have animated emotes, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Really, really cool stuff. It's nice. It's fun. I think you're already in, darling. I already saw you in. Oh, no, you weren't. Ooh, now you are. All right, so let me go out there, and let's hope Jay doesn't hit a wrong button like he always does. You got in under the gun there, Grendel's Skull, and welcome to the community. And by the way, so Cannon Fire Discord is here, and the Virtual GradCon Discord is here. So there's 2 Discords to join. All right, here we go. Closing this out. The winner, first winner, got to be on the claim. J.S. Glenn 4. I don't know that name. That's a new name. Wow, cool. Let's see if they're on. They appear to be on. Just say in chat that you're on and tell me what you want. J.S. Glenn 4, a new name to the winners. Very cool. So there you go. All right, so J.S. Glenn 4. I'll give you a suggestion if you're new to Greyhawk. I would take Treasures myself because it's got great adventures in it. I would take Treasures and then an introductory level adventure, Crucible of Freya, but your choice. You can whisper me your full name and address so I can send you the stuff, but you can decide. All right, and then the second winner will get what J.S. Glenn 4 decides. I must hit complete again. Captain Ron from Greyhawk Reborn. Congrats, Captain Ron. There you go. All right, cool. So I got you, Captain Ron. You get these 2, Captain Ron. I may have your address, but just make sure that I do, Captain Ron. All right. Congrats, everyone. Please sit tight. Raid into Guild Superior, who does a lot of partner games with us, has done stuff for the cons, and is running Ghosts of Saltmarsh. J.S. Glenn, whisper me here, please, and we'll get that going, and we will. So I have all your information. I can send this all out tomorrow, which I will. Great show, Anna and Mike. Thank you. Thank you, community, for a great Legends and Lore. We're cranking things out.
See you all next week.
It went so quick.
Yeah. Awesome. So see you all soon. See you tomorrow, 7:30. We'll be gaming. Just hang out and have fun with it. And thank you for the kind words. And am I going to hit a wrong button? I may. All right, raiding into Guild Superior. Setting that up. Please sit tight. Here, let me. All right, give me 1 second. Sit tight right there, Jazz Glenn. I will whisper you myself. Give me 1 second. Hit them hard with the raid. If you haven't followed them, please follow them. Support Guild Superior. It's they're doing beyond Saltmarsh, so they're doing some Greyhawk. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. Turn this up so you can hear what they're doing.
That is nice.
That's so funny.